A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
This is Walter O'Keefe, inviting you to listen in on the Nightline. Tonight, live the incredible life of ages yet to come, in a time that might be 1,000,000 years from now, on X-1.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in 1,000,000, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents X-1. Tonight, Point of Departure by Vaughn Shelton. But first, hear this. A garden party for a queen, and you're invited. A trip to Tokyo, and you'll go along. The Army football game at West Point, and you have a seat on the 50-yard line. These are just a few highlights of the weekend Monitor has planned for you. Tomorrow night, Jinx Falkenberg is your personal guide at the party being given for England's Queen Elizabeth in the garden of the British Embassy in Washington, D.C. Saturday, you'll be off to historic West Point for the great Army-Pittsburgh football game. And that excursion will be followed later in the Monitor day by a trip to Tokyo, where you'll visit the famed Japanese Kabuki Theater and the exotic Ginza nightclub district. Eleanor Roosevelt, Helen Hayes, Pat Boone, and Tony Perkins will be among the celebrities visiting Monitor this weekend. There'll be music, comedy, by Fibber McGee and Molly, Bob and Ray, features, news, and sports. So start your weekend right with Monitor on Friday night, and stay with Monitor all weekend long over most of these same NBC radio stations. Now, X-1 and Point of Departure by Vaughn Shelton.
Before I make this statement, I am well aware that you, gentlemen, are the board of directors and not likely to believe me. The overwhelming concrete fact that we face is that the Utah Flats atomic plant is short $300,000. You've asked for an explanation before the district attorney's office is called. I shall explain, but I know I will not be believed. It started with a letter I received from Dr. Winston Reed, the archaeologist. He is the top man in his field. You may have heard of the Yucatan discoveries and, of course, the Poseidon tablets found in the vault under the Sphinx. His letter introduced me to a Simon Kane, who flew in from Salt Lake City and made an appointment for the following afternoon.
Mr. Donner, I'm sorry that Dr. Reed has left again for the field. I should like to have him with me at this meeting.
Well, Mr. Kane, I don't quite understand why you've come to me. I'm merely a plant manager for Allied Electronics, and I have no interest in archaeology, nor have I access to any funds.
I'm not here on a begging expedition, Mr. Donner. I'll come right to the point. Do you know anything of the Poseidon tablets?
Well, I've read newspaper accounts.
The preliminary translations of the Protolithic seals that surrounded the tablets indicate a civilization that flourished on the equatorial continent until it was destroyed by a natural catastrophe, identified as the biblical flood at about 10,000 B.C.
Oh, really? I'm afraid I had it confused with the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Oh, well, the lay public has not been informed that the tablets have been opened.
Opened?
Why, yes. The original inscription surrounded them. They were in wedge-shaped characters on baked clay. They have been removed from the tablets.
Well, it's all very interesting, but really I think...
Mr. Donner, 14 tablets were never registered with the Egyptian Museum. They remain at large. 6 of them have been translated so far. They indicate a scientifically advanced culture, and particularly they concern themselves with a solar energy converter.
You mean that literally? A power source from the sun?
Yes. According to the preliminary translations, this solar converter delivers such fantastic power that it makes our nuclear source look as primitive as a windmill.
And I suppose that's why you've come to me.
Yes, we wanted to check the inscriptions against actual tests in the laboratory in the field.
Well, I'm quite willing to have my engineering staff look over the plans and give you an opinion if it will help you in your research.
Why, well, that seems quite fair. I'll bring them to your office in the morning.
I suppose I half believed him at the time. I had heard of the Poseidon tablets, and I knew that the frontier of archaeology had been pushed back far beyond current thought by them. You gentlemen of the board of directors will have to believe me that I suspected no fraud. I had no reason to doubt Kane. I called in Rowell and Henniger, 2 of our engineers, and left them alone with Kane. About 5 o'clock, I got Rowell back in my office.
Mr. Donner, it's remarkable. Quite remarkable. Of course, I don't quite understand the field mathematics involved.
Rowell, I want a simple answer from you because I'm a simple executive type. Will that thing work or not?
Well, of course, it'll need a field test, but theoretically I see no reason why it shouldn't.
Should we build it?
Well, there isn't any question, is there? It's revolutionary. Quite revolutionary.
All right. You and Henniger are assigned to it. I'll give it a project name in the morning and allocate a research budget. You'll be working with Mr. Kane. I took great care to protect the corporation's interests. I shall submit in evidence the contracts I drew up with Mr. Kane. I set Rowell and Henniger up in an isolated shop in the west corner of the plant area, and they had a device functioning within 3 weeks. A week later, I checked in at the shop again and found Rowell still working with the power unit. Naturally, I asked what he was doing.
You see, I'm getting ready to mount the solar energy converter on the projectile now, Mr. Donner.
What projectile?
Mr. Kane leased a surplus one-man rocket from the White Sands project. We're going to rig the solar unit in it.
You mean power a rocket with the solar unit?
You see, it's a question of field mathematics and the quantum...
Rowell, I'm an administrator, not a scientist. I asked you your engineering opinion. Is this a feasible research project?
Yes. Yes, it most certainly is. Using the solar converter, you could develop thrust up to escape velocity at only 10% of potential. This solar converter is creating more power than any atomic pile we have. Mr. Donner, this is it. Spaceflight.
You are listening to Point of Departure, tonight's attraction on X-1. This is... Now back to X-1 and Point of Departure.
Of course, whereas the purchase of the projectile was not authorized, I should like to point out to the board that I acted most conservatively. I checked the cost sheets and discovered that the rocket purchase was actually within the allowable debt limitations for my department, and so I okayed the project. However, I was concerned with the irregularity of an expenditure before authorization. So I drove out to Simon Kane's place to speak to him about it.
Oh, Mr. Donner, I'd like you to meet Porter Hayes.
Hi. How do you do? No, look here,
Mr. Hayes has agreed to fly the ship.
Look, that's what I want to talk to you
He's
about.
with the Pan-Columbian Project, and he's flown all the other types that have been flown so far.
This is the one that'll make history, Mr. Donner. This ship will fly anywhere in the solar system. Probably clear out to most other planets without even carrying a fuel supply. Best thing about it is the actual guarantee of a return trip. You know, those geniuses down at Pan-Columbia have plenty of ideas for getting you out there, but very few for getting you back.
I've been showing Mr. Hayes the photographs of the original tablets and translations. You see, Mr. Donner, aren't they beautiful work?
Kane, I want to talk to you in private. The cost sheets.
Hey, Kane, where's the last tablet? There are only pictures of 13 here.
That's right. The first 13 tablets take us through the construction of the unit and the ship and the inventor's 6 successful trial flights. The 14th hasn't been translated yet. It takes about a month to decipher each tablet.
You do it yourself?
Oh, no. That's a special study. My wife does it. She's an Egyptian scholar in her own right. Her father was Egypt's foremost antiquarian. I believe she's about to honor us with her... Nalja. I should like you to meet Mr. Hayes and Mr. Donner.
How do you do, gentlemen?
How do you do?
How do you do?
My dear, we thought you could give us a hint about the text of the 14th tablet. Are you far enough along?
No, I am sorry. I have only just started. The language symbols are a little different from the others, and it is a bit difficult to read.
Well, all I want to know is, when's the ship going to be ready?
In good time. It's waited 12,000 years. A week or two more won't matter.
During the next 2 weeks, I was too busy with other things to worry much about the project, but I would like to call the board's attention to the fact that I submitted multiple progress reports at 5-day intervals as required by plant operating procedure. I am at a loss to understand why those reports are now missing from the files. One evening on a visit to Salt Lake, I was dining at the Pioneer Arms when I spotted Porter Hayes at the table across the room. He was with a young lady who looked familiar to me, even from the back, and, of course, I realized it was Nalja Kane. I felt it was discretionary on my part not to inform Mr. Kane of his wife's continuing acquaintance with Porter Hayes. On July 19th, Kane telephoned and said the airship was rigged and ready to go. I had assigned him an area in our desert test space, and we scheduled the test for the next morning. I got to the test site a little late. Everything was ready, and they were waiting for me. The gantry train moved back, and without the usual roar of chemical rockets or the scream of jets, the ship rose gradually to about 10 feet, and then shot up to a couple of hundred, and then stopped again. Kane was on the intercom.
Hayes! Is it firing right?
What did he say?
He's satisfied the craft works perfectly. He's going to take it straight out for 4 or 5 hours and then come back.
Well, he can't do that. There's too much he doesn't know about that ship. Tell him to come back.
Let him alone. He's making history.
But the first time...
There he goes. Well, I think I'll go down the road a few miles to get some breakfast. I'll be back shortly.
That was 4 days ago. I want it clear to the members of the board that I have not notified the authorities. The ship carried the standard survival kit with 7 days' ration and water, and if he had no operational trouble, Hayes could stay out at least a week. Other than filing the original flight plan with the Joint Astronautics Board, I had no other official obligation. When Kane did not return to the test site by noon, I went to look for him. Meeting with no success, I attempted to question Mrs. Kane at her hotel room.
I cannot tell you. I cannot tell you anything.
Mrs. Kane, this is a matter of vital necessity to our corporation. I have exceeded my research budget on my own responsibility. I must find your husband. If something happens to the rocket, there'll be an investigation. An official investigation.
It will all come out then, won't it?
What?
About my father.
Mrs. Kane, I don't understand. What is your father to do with this?
He stole the tablets. At least I thought he did.
You mean the tablets that you've been translating?
Yes, I thought he had stolen them. Simon Kane told me that. He brought me the cases soon after we were married. I helped him smuggle them out of Egypt to protect my father. He swore if I didn't help him to translate the inscriptions, he'd expose my father and disgrace him. But now it's too late. He's dead.
You mean your father?
Yes, he is. Porter Hayes told me. He called me this morning.
Well, that must have been before the test.
My father's been dead for 6 months. Murdered. Simon Kane murdered my father. He killed him and stole the tablets from him. Porter Hayes told me he has the proof.
Well, that's... I'm really sorry, but if Mr. Kane did come into possession of those tablets illegally, there will be a great deal of litigation. Patent rights, you know. That's our primary concern. Now, of course, we'll have to have whatever proof we can. The original tablets, any photostats, notes...
They are all gone.
You mean Kane took them?
He destroyed them. He burned them. He laughed at me this morning. He told me I could never prove they'd ever existed.
However, we do have the corroborative evidence of the solar converter, its plans at the plant, the prototype model, and, of course, the rocket.
Porter Hayes flew it, didn't he? He flew away.
Oh, Hayes, yes, but he's on the test flight. Now, as soon as he comes back, we'll have to get his affidavit. I'll admit I am at a loss to understand the absence from the plant files of all plans and prototype models of the solar converter. However, I am awaiting a report momentarily from our proving ground near Salt Lake on the return of Porter Hayes and the rocket. In the meantime, I am in receipt of a communication from Mrs. Kane, who had discovered a sketch of the 14th tablet, which remained unburned. She includes a translation, and I open this now in the presence of you gentlemen, and I include it in my report. I am convinced that the translation, which I have never seen before, will prove to you gentlemen my probity and my good faith in the corporation's behalf. And now I open the envelope. The translation, 14th tablet, and I quote, "The foregoing record is accurate, and we acknowledge a superlative contribution to science of the inventor." And there is a name here I cannot pronounce. I continue. "But we must admit his greatest contribution is in the proving of an axiom where ultimate force is involved. It is better to know none of the laws than to know most of them. On the 4th day, the aircraft returned from far space to the point of its departure. The aircraft was in excellent condition, but the solar converter was completely fused into a shapeless mass of metal. Of the inventor, the pilot of the craft, nothing remained but his clothing and a handful of white dust. I must conclude my report by proffering my resignation. I will be at the district attorney's disposal when you gentlemen of the board choose to call me in.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features Willie Lay's factual account of the fascinating disappearance of the dodo. On with the dodo hunt. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. X-1 has brought you Point of Departure, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by Vaughn Shelton and adapted for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in our cast were Dean Lyman Almquist as Mr. Donner and Ilya Braca as Mrs. Kane. This is Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by George Voutsas and is an NBC Radio Network production.
There's excitement in the air at night, and Nightline brings it to you. Hear Nightline with Walter O'Keefe, next on most of these NBC stations.
The Gregory party is very near to their home port at last. Captain Bradford is standing in the bow of the small boat with which Johnson rescued them, talking to Johnson as they thread their way carefully through the small shipping of the outer basin. In the stern, Mrs. Gregory, Joan, and Jerry are talking as the boat glides into the harbor under sail. It is just before midnight of a very dark night. The harbor is unusually quiet as the small boat drifts easily before a 5-mile wind.
Oh, but Joan, I don't see how anything can happen to us now. Oh, we're nearly home.
We are some few miles from our anchorage, and then a drive by motor of more than 20 miles, you said.
That's right, Joan. But surely the danger is past now.
I am not so sure of that.
Oh, forget it, Joan. You act like these Euclideans could do just as they please all over the world. We got away from them, didn't we?
We did.
Then all their smart science and inventions didn't do them so much good after all.
You seem to forget that it was in a Euclidean submarine we made our escape, and our present safety is due to the perfection of Euclidean devices, which made it possible to leave that submarine far below the surface and rise to this boat.
Of course you're right, Joan. Euclideans are very clever, but after all, they can't always win.
You bet they can't. And 2 hours from now, we'll be safe at Mrs. Gregory's home.
I am anxious to see your home, Mother.
Your home, Joan, dear.
Yeah, and I'd kind of like to see my dad. Gee, you know, we've been going 3 months now, and I haven't had a chance to even send him a postcard.
Well, I think you'll find that Johnson has kept your father informed of our doings, Jerry.
I sure hope Dad doesn't know all that's happened to us, or he'd be plenty worried.
There is something very strange to me in that sensation you describe as worry. Until you came to Euclidia, I had never heard the word used. Now I understand what it means, and I am beginning to learn how to worry.
Well, why bother to learn to worry? Gosh, most people do plenty of that without even trying to.
Joan is struggling to understand our way of living, Jerry.
I think I may like it after I'm familiar with it.
Oh, Mrs. Gregory.
Yes, Jerry?
May I take Joan out and show her Hollywood Boulevard right away?
Well, hardly tonight, Jerry. It'll be nearly morning by the time we arrive at home. And you must hurry to see your father first.
Oh, sure. I meant tomorrow night.
Well, we'll see how things work out.
What is Hollywood Boulevard, Mother?
That's where you see all the moving picture stars.
Moving picture stars?
Hollywood Boulevard, Joan, dear, is a street that wants a bit of knowing and sometimes a great deal of understanding. But you'll enjoy it as you see it with Jerry.
I want to see the ladies' garments in the stores you have told me of, Mother.
Now, there's a job for you, Jerry. Take Joan around while she window shops in all the stores.
Oh, no, nothing doing. I'm not going to waste a lot of my time standing around while some girl looks at a lot of funny hats and dresses.
Well, I'll spare you that.
What is window shopping?
Gee whiz, Joan. I don't see how you ever got to be 15 years old and not learn anything.
Now, Jerry, Joan knows a great many things, even though they do constitute a strange education for our world.
Strange is right. Hey, Johnson and Tex are coming back here.
Yes, and they appear to be watching something in the sky.
Probably that Euclidean plane.
Oh, that plane. I had forgotten it.
Oh, so had I. But it looks like we're going to get a swell chance to remember.
I'd say it was the same plane, but I want to ask Joan.
What is it, Captain?
Johnson and I just discovered that there's a plane flying around over us.
Too dark to see it, and they're not showing any lights. But I thought I heard them cruising around with a very quiet motor some time ago.
Oh, but those Euclidean planes don't sound the same as ours, do they, Joan?
In this case, they would.
In this case?
Oh, sure. You don't know these Euclideans like we do. They think nothing of carrying two kinds of engines in a plane.
How about that, Joan?
This plane is undoubtedly equipped with an ordinary motor, so they will excite no suspicion when heard cruising around over the harbor.
Well, I should think the fact that they're running without light would excite plenty of suspicion.
Yes, it will, but no one will know what to do about it.
Well, what do you suppose they're flying around over here for?
Well, I would say some attempt would be made to prevent our landing.
When these fellows make attempts, it's usually a pretty good try.
I think we are in no immediate danger.
Joan feels that the Euclideans are not going to do us any bodily harm, but we've seen so much of their power that it's rather hard to believe anything particularly nice about them.
Well, one thing is certain. With this harbor all full of battleships and a carrier in there with a lot of planes on it, they're certainly not going to resort to any firing or bomb dropping.
The Euclideans have many weapons that are practically noiseless.
Well, that plane isn't noiseless by a long shot. I can hear it coming back in right now.
They will attempt to frighten us, I believe.
Well, they won't have to try very hard for me. I scare easy when those Euclideans are around.
That plane is coming down awfully fast.
Yes, it's coming right over us.
Sounds like a power dive.
And I'll bet there'll be a bomb at the bottom of it.
Oh, what can we do?
Nothing. Just sit still and wait for what happens.
Well, they didn't hit us.
They didn't try to hit us.
They dropped something just as the plane passed over us, though. I'm sure of that.
Yes. I thought I heard something hit the water.
Have no fear. If they were using bombs, it would be only the magnetic type.
Got any metal on this boat, Johnson?
Not unless you brought it along with you. I even ripped out a small capstan to head forward.
Well, then we can keep moving. But if there's one little piece of metal on this boat, we'll stay right here.
Johnson, your anchor.
We have no anchor, Mrs. Gregory.
You are very thorough, Mr. Johnson.
It pays to be thorough in this sort of business.
Well, we seem to be going smoothly along, and nothing's happening.
Yep. But those fellows from the Magic Island fool you. Just when you think you've seen the whole show, they dig out one more trick.
Well, they must have dug one out then. Here they come back to try it out on us.
Sorry we haven't any protection on this little boat.
Oh, don't worry about that, Johnson. A battleship doesn't carry enough protection to save it from a Euclidean plane if they're attacking in earnest.
I would suggest we all sit perfectly still, make no move as the plane goes over, and concentrate on trying to discover their purpose in these repeated dives.
That's right, Joan. Now everybody sit still with your eyes wide open.
It's raining.
Sure, feels like it.
The cooling system in that plane must be leaking. I felt a fine, heavy spray, slightly warm as they passed over it.
Well, I'd say that wasn't accidental. They managed to cover us pretty thoroughly with it. And my clothing feels wet all over.
Yeah, my sleeves are... Say, well, that's funny.
What, Jerry?
My sleeves were wet, soaking wet, and now they're dry.
Why, you're right, Jerry.
They have used a chemical of some kind with which to spray this boat.
Well, what for, Joan?
The reason is not apparent to me as yet.
It can't be anything very destructive. It didn't burn where it touched the skin.
And it doesn't seem to be affecting the fabric of our clothing.
If we could only smell the blame stuff, we might get an idea.
Euclideans are far too clever to allow an odor to identify any of their preparations.
Well, whatever this stuff is, I'll bet we find out a lot about it mighty quick. Look, that plane's coming back.
What can they do to us?
Anything they take a notion to, I guess.
I believe I understand the purpose of this liquid spray now.
Well, what is it, Joan?
I will not tell you.
Oh, but Joan...
No, Mother. If the effect will be as I think, you might do something foolish in attempting to escape from it when our greatest safety lies in doing nothing.
Well, I hope you know best, Joan. Here he comes.
Well, whatever you thought it was, Joan, you're wrong. He didn't do a blame thing to us.
Have you tried to move your hands?
Move our hands? Why, say, what is this?
Magnetism again.
Tex, I'm absolutely powerless. I can't move at all.
They sprayed us with that magnetic paint of theirs.
Precisely.
And this last time he dropped magnetic bombs all around us.
We had plenty of this sort of treatment on that island.
Well, tell me, how lasting is the effect?
That will depend on how many bombs were dropped in the water near us. and what materials the bomb casings are made of. You will observe that the boat is no longer making any progress.
Oh, you're right, Joan. We're standing still, except for a little drift with the tide.
And we'll stand here until the solution from those bombs becomes so diluted in the water that it won't hold us?
Correct, Captain.
Well, that won't take long, will it, Joan?
I believe the pilot of that plane may have arranged that it will take several hours.
Several hours? Why, Joan, dear, that magnetic solution can't possibly stand up in water that long.
You would be right, Mother, if the solution was all formed at once. But I imagine some of those bombs were made to float and dissolve at certain intervals, continually generating fresh magnetism on their contact with the salt water.
Then, if that's the case, we may be here all night?
At least we may be here long enough for the submarine we left magnetized to free itself and come up after us.
Well, you mean to tell me that all we can do is just sit around here like a bunch of statues and let this boat drift around with us?
That is all.
Well, now I'm beginning to understand something of what you've all been through on that island.
Oh, we sure had plenty of weird things happen to us.
Look, that plane seems to be on his way now.
Yes. I can't hear it anymore. He must be going back to Euclidia.
I think that is correct.
But how do they refuel those things?
They don't much. We've learned a lot of things, Johnson. One of them is that we don't know anything about fuel or how to use it.
We'll get our hands on all those formulas when we go back to the Magic Island.
I'm not at all sure I want to go back, Jerry. Sometimes I feel that Euclidia is a very fascinating place, and at other times I hate it. Just now, I'm not very kindly disposed toward G47 and his men.
Oh, yes, his men. How about this fellow Thales? What did you finally do to get rid of him, Johnson?
I've never seen him.
Never seen him?
No, Mrs. Gregory.
Then you were right, Tex. That radio was wrecked by remote control.
Johnson, did you find your set burned up or melted down?
Both. Some highly caustic chemical was suspended near every vital part of the set. When I used it to warn you, it simply flowed over everything and put the set out of business.
But you mean to say, Johnson, you have no idea where Thales is or what he looks like?
No, not the slightest.
I have seen him on Euclidia. I would recognize him if I saw him again, I believe.
I hope you get a chance to point him out to me.
Oh, Tex, look.
What, Pat?
Well, that boat. See that big shadow off the port bow?
Gee, it's a great big oil tanker.
And he's bearing right down on us.
We are helpless.
None of us can make a move. They'll never turn that big boat in time.
Can't blame them. We haven't any lights, and I painted the sails black so we wouldn't be seen.
Tex, he's going to run us down.
We'll sure get it in a minute.
And we can't swim with this magnetic plane on
Worse
us.
than that, we will sink immediately.
He's almost on top of us.
When the small boat carrying Johnson and the Gregory party was run down by an oil tanker, things looked bad for our friends. Covered with magnetic paint, which had been sprayed on them from a Euclidean plane, all were powerless to help themselves in any way, and the little boat was badly smashed, throwing them into the water. However, they were all prepared as to what to do. As the boat broke up, each member of the party managed to get some part of their bodies across or on a piece of the boat, and the tanker put about at once and picked them up. Jerry, Captain Bradford, and Johnson are in the ship's radio cabin, while we find Mrs. Gregory and Joan wrapped in dry blankets in the captain's cabin.
Well, Joan, my dear, it seems to be a little hard for your mother to land in her own country.
Our progress has been rather erratic, Mother, but I feel we have done well to accomplish so much against the opposition of G47 and his Euclideans.
I agree with you. Escape certainly wasn't easy. But at last we're home, or nearly so.
This oil boat we are now on, is it taking us into the harbor?
Yes, Joan. Tex explained to the captain that there were a number of reasons why we didn't want to send in for a water taxi or a harbor patrol boat to come out after us.
There are many things I cannot understand about your world and the great secrecy with which you surround the most commonplace things. But one thing I like very much.
And what is that, dear?
Everyone seems so kind, so willing to aid everyone else. Your personal comfort means a great deal. Here we are on a strange boat. We did not know the captain. He did not know us. And he was out of the harbor on the beginning of a long cruise. Yet he is returning us safely to the landing.
Why, of course, dear. His boat ran into us, didn't it?
Which was entirely our fault.
Well, granted, but common courtesy on the high seas would demand that he take us to a place of safety.
And the captain allows us to use his own cabin. We are given his warm blankets to keep us dry and comfortable.
You have lived in a hard, cruel atmosphere, Joan.
I did not know that until you came and told me of another manner of life. You are showing me many nice things, Mother.
And you are showing us some nice things, Joan. Just the everyday, commonplace things that we have so many of in our world, and which are really very precious privileges, for which we forget to appreciate. You're teaching me a new respect for the comforts in my world.
And Mr. Johnson, he is so obviously a gentleman, and yet he guards your interests as closely as if he were in your employ.
Well, Johnson is, in a sense, an employee, but he was Captain Bradford's first sergeant in the war, and he's been with me for 14 years. Johnson is almost one of my family.
Mother, what does rich mean?
Rich? Well, don't you know that simple word, Joan?
I know what it means to the scientists. They often speak of some mineral or metal being rich in certain properties. But I think there must be another meaning.
Well, what are you trying to figure out, dear?
Well, I am not sure. But Jerry once told me that you were a very rich woman. Does that mean you are rich in mineral properties or rich in food value?
Well, not exactly, Joan. In our world, we frequently refer to people who have a great deal of money and may enjoy most of the world's pleasures as rich or wealthy people.
Then you are rich, are you not, Mother?
Why, yes, Joan, I suppose I am, though I've never given it much thought. You see, money doesn't mean a great deal when you've always had it. But it means life itself to those who are not so fortunate.
I would not like to make you less rich, Mother. Yet I would enjoy seeing something of those large stores Jerry tells me of. And I would like some dresses such as you wear. Jerry tells me your garments are very expensive. Would your riches suffer badly if I were to have some dresses like yours?
Oh, well, of course not. You dear, silly little girl. You'll have lots of dresses. And anything else you want when we get settled at home.
Jerry has a bicycle. He told me about it. May I have a bicycle?
Why, of course you may. Anything within reason.
What is a bicycle, Mother?
Oh, you'll see when the time comes.
When does the time come?
Joan, you act as if you were about 5 years old or even younger than that. But, of course, you can't understand all the things Jerry talks about, such as bicycles and picture stars.
I will be very ignorant in your world, Mother.
Why, Joan, dear, you won't be anything of the kind.
Oh, yes, I will. You were very ignorant when you came to the island.
Oh, well, Yes, I suppose we were, from your point of view.
Euclidia was no more strange to you than your world will be to me.
And we'll try to remember that, Joan, and be very patient with you in making all our explanations. Come in.
It is Jerry.
You bet it's Jerry. Jerry on the job.
Well, come in and close the door and tell us what Tex and Johnson are doing.
Oh, they're doing swell.
Well, are we nearly to the pier?
About 10 minutes now, and we'll step off on dry land.
Oh, Joan, we're almost home.
I will be very glad to see your home, our home.
Boy, I'll sure be glad to see mine, too. And Dad'll be some surprised to see me.
He must have been very lonesome without you, Jerry.
Oh, he'll get over that fast enough. When I start asking him a million questions why he's trying to work...
I should think your father would become very tired of you, Jerry.
You what?
Why, Joan, that's a strange thing to say to Jerry.
It sure is.
I mean that if Jerry speaks as much and says as little as he does when talking to me, it would not be deeply interesting to his father.
Well, I like that.
Oh, now, Jerry, remember that Joan hasn't learned what our family relationships mean to us, and she can't possibly realize that your father would be interested in every word you said, whether it was about this trip or one of your hobbies or anything else.
I do not know many of your customs, Mother.
Oh, you'll learn very fast, Joan. Now suppose we put aside our exchange of educations for a few moments and talk about our present situation. Jerry, just what is the captain doing? Captain Bradford, I mean.
Oh, he and Johnson are with the skipper of this oil tanker. Boy, oh boy, and they're sure making that radio work overtime.
They are calling to stations on land?
Well, I'll say they are, calling everything that will answer.
But isn't that dangerous, Jerry?
Dangerous?
In what way, Joan, dear?
To the captain's plans. He wanted to preserve an air of absolute secrecy about our landing, and I agreed with him that it was advisable. Now Jerry says the news is being thrown open to all radio stations.
Hey, I didn't say that.
No, that's the impression you gave, Jerry.
Well, I didn't get a chance to finish what I started to say. Tex is sending plenty of messages, all right, and some of the land stations are getting them. But he's not telling them the right story.
You mean Tex isn't telling them we've been rescued?
Not by a long ways he isn't. He's telling them that we're on a tramp steamer, 300 miles out, and that we won't be in here for a couple of days yet.
That would be a very clever story if it were not for the fact that your land stations will be able to localize those messages and know exactly where they are coming from.
I don't believe we need to fear that, Joan. You see, there aren't a dozen stations in the country with equipment to do that, well, even possibly well. And Tex is staying away from those stations. You can be very, very sure of that.
I should think that would be advisable.
And that's just what he's doing. The only stations they're talking to and the only wavelengths they're using are a lot of hams the captain knows. They'll pass the story out just as they get it, and nobody be any wiser.
And if that story is generally circulated, we should have a good many hours of privacy before any of the Euclidean agents discover that we're in town.
That's an idea. And those hams will be excited over the story enough that they won't be worrying about where it came from.
What is a ham, Jerry?
Huh? A ham?
Yes, what do you mean by a ham?
Oh, a ham is an amateur radio operator. A fellow who has a radio station of his own and works it just because he likes to.
That is interesting. Are there many hams?
Oh, thousands of them.
Oh, yes. Jerry is a ham, aren't you?
You bet I am. You see, my dad and I have got one of the best sets in Southern California.
Come in.
Oh, come on in, Tex, and join the powwow.
I'll do that. It looks like a powwow at that, with you two all wrapped up in blankets.
Well, now, Captain Bradford, we're warm and dry and comfortable, and our Indian appearance isn't bothering us one little bit.
I say, as far as I'm concerned, you look fine.
Sure do to me. What'd you find out?
I think my story got over all right.
No one suspects we're landing from this boat?
Not a soul.
How will we go ashore without being observed, Captain?
Well, the captain's taking care of that. He's really got more supplies on board than he needs. And the men who helped load the stores, they'll remember that. So there won't be any suspicion aroused when the captain says he picked up some stuff by mistake. And as it looks like large cases in which most anything might be contained, he's just going to drop a few cases back on the pier. And we'll be in them.
You don't mean we'll be in the cases?
Right, and we won't get hurt.
That should not be difficult.
Well, I wasn't thinking of the difficulty of landing in those cases. But, Tex, what about the rescue? Well, surely someone in the harbor must have heard that crash and knows about this boat running us down.
Yeah. Say, I forgot about that. What are they going to say to the captain when he comes in without any survivors from that wreck?
And after all, Tex, the packing case thing isn't much of an excuse for turning an ocean-going tanker around when he's out in the open channel.
That's all taken care of. Johnson will be the survivor. In fact, the only survivor. And as Johnson went out alone on that boat, it's going to look perfectly all right for him to be rescued alone, isn't it?
Gee, that's smart.
Why, it certainly is. Johnson is a survivor, just as he should be.
That is a very clever plan, Captain Bradford. You are indeed the most resourceful man I have ever known.
Aha, flowers for you, Tex.
And thank you, Joan, but I can't take the credit for that. Johnson thought that one up.
You sure did a good job.
Now, Jerry, look, I want you to run along up and see what you can do to help Johnson, the skipper. I'll join you in a minute and give Pat and Joe a chance to dress.
Okay, Tex. I'll see what goes on. Hey, don't be long. You know, we're mighty near the pier.
Right, Jerry.
You'd better get out of here, too, Tex. If we're that near the pier, Joan and I had better be dressing.
Yes, I know that, but I want to get Jerry out of here long enough to tell you something I didn't want him to hear.
Oh, yes, Tex?
Is there any trouble, Captain?
No, Joan, just something to smooth out.
Oh, what is it, Tex?
Well, one of the amateur radio operators I talked to, and thank heavens it was after Jerry came back here, was Jerry's dad.
Jerry's father? Oh, how wonderful, Tex. Then he knows Jerry's safe.
Yes, on the contrary, he thinks Jerry's on the high seas, still in danger.
Oh, of course, your message. But what a shame to worry him like that.
Well, I didn't dare tell him the truth. Anyone could have heard it.
But that should be a simple matter. We will be in Los Angeles soon, will we not?
In about an hour.
Then Jerry's father will know he is safe in an hour.
Well, that won't be so bad, Tex. After waiting all this time.
Oh, I know that part of it, but I just wanted to ask you if you'd phone Jerry's dad as soon as we land and sort of break it to him gently. Might be quite a shock if he runs in on his father and, well, I can't do those things.
Don't worry, Tex. I'll break it gently.
Hey, hurry up. We're there right now.
Oh, Joan, Tex, we're home, safe and sound.
Exploring tomorrow. And now here is your guide to these adventures of the mind, the editor of Astounding Science Fiction magazine, John Campbell Jr.
In the biblical story of the handwriting on the wall, everybody could see that handwriting. The king, Belshazzar, could see it clearly enough. Trouble was he couldn't tell what it meant. If you recall, he had to call in an interpreter. A lot of people can see handwriting on the wall. The argument is, what does it mean? The thing that makes reading that handwriting on the wall so difficult many times is that the message is one we don't want. We don't want to be able to read. Many times when a man's faced with a problem that he can't solve, he doesn't want to admit that it's an absolute limitation that cannot be broken. Then the grand old art of buck passing comes in. That's when you start saying, well, it isn't my fault. He won't let me. Let's consider a situation of that type.
My name is Lester McClellan, Secretary General of the United Nations. It was a busy day in the year 2180. The ambassador from a now independent colony on Venus was due to see me that morning. And there was a note on my desk requesting me to call Dr. Kingston, head of the UN Research Bureau, as soon as I had a chance. Kingston was working on a project vital to the future of mankind. I decided to call him. Bernie, I got your message. What goes?
Good news about the space drive project. There's been a substantial breakthrough. We've made a qualitative advance.
And what does that mean in plain English?
That we'll be finished with the groundwork in less than a year. Maybe even next month.
Have you prepared a news release on this thing?
Not yet, Lester. We're waiting for official approval first. Look, can you come down to the lab sometime today? I can give you a briefing on the new material. Study in.
I'll try, but I'm not promising. The ambassador from Venus is due any minute, and you know what a tough job I'm going to have with him.
Yeah, I understand. Well, Lester, if you're free at all...
I'll call you back if I am.
Right. Good luck with the ambassador.
Thanks. Oh, he's coming now. I can't talk anymore.
Try to see me later, will you?
Bye, Bernie.
Secretary General McClellan, I'm David Rockwood, Art Secretary of Venus Central Council. How do you do?
Won't you be seated, Mr. Rockwood?
Thank you.
I'm happy to welcome you back to the planet of your ancestors. Is it your first visit to Earth?
It is.
I wish I could hope that you'll enjoy your stay here, but I can't do that, can I? Anyway, we're very happy that the Outworlds agreed to send an observer to the Earth. We have a major problem here, Mr. Rockwood. We think your worlds can help us. Of course, you're familiar with the text of the General Assembly resolution.
Of course. The three governments of the former Earth colonies of Mars, Venus, and Callisto have sent me as their representative. The space travel is not cheap, you know. We saw no need of 3 observers when one would do.
Yes. Yes, I see. I've arranged for you to have a brief guided tour of parts of the Earth to illustrate our population problem.
Very well. We've agreed to reserve decision until we've seen Earth.
We can begin our tour now, if you like. And this is the Bureau of Population Statistics. You see that screen over there, Mr. Rockwood, the one with the red numbers on it? It's the up-to-date record on Earth's population. Every birth and death is automatically fed into the main computer channel as soon as it's known, and within an hour it's registered up there.
13,762,312,000. The last column doesn't stay still long enough for me to read it.
No, it doesn't. We average 500,000 new Earthmen a day, and the computer has to move fast to keep up. It's an average gain of 3 or 4 million people a week, 150 million a year. And the figure keeps rising.
What you need is a really efficient play. Something to clear away 3 or 4 billions.
I don't find that very amusing, Mr. Rockwood. An interplanetary war would achieve the same thing. Shall we move on? Down there you see New York City. Population 15.5 million.
Incredible. One long stretch of buildings. Well, the largest city on Venus is only 200,000 people.
I can remember when we still had trees in New York. Not anymore. Wood is a luxury on Earth now.
And so is living space. Where do you expect to put the billions you're figuring on in coming years?
I wish I knew. We're converting Mars and Venus and Callisto into livable worlds, but the rest of the planets are impossible to convert. We need population relief in a hurry.
Meaning emigration to Venus, Mars, and Callisto?
Yes. If you will permit us to send more settlers to the planets we built and colonized.
Oh, come now. Do you really think we owe you the right to send the overflow to us?
Let's finish the tour. We can discuss possible arrangements later.
You know, the handwriting doesn't have to be on a wall. Sometimes it can be on the face of a computer, as it was this time. But the handwriting was there. But now, what is the meaning of this handwriting? Does it mean that the colonists should allow Earthmen to move out? Or does it maybe have some other meaning?
And this is Food Station 117, an artificial island in the Gulf of Mexico. Since we've hardly any open land on Earth for cultivation, we've turned to farming the sea. We've developed some new foods. These are plankton sticks, synthesized from small sea creatures, microscopic crustaceans. And this bread comes from plankton flowers. Taste it.
Oh, dear. It's not very tasty stuff, is it?
No, it isn't. But half of Earth's population knows no other food. It's nutritious, and the supply is practically limitless. And we can't spare land for grazing animals. The only ones left are in the zoo. Care for another slice of steak?
No, thanks. No, thanks. This one will do very well. May I have something to drink, please, to wash away that taste?
How did you enjoy the rush hour subway ride?
It was a nightmare.
I've given you as good a sample of Earth's life as is possible in a single day. You've seen much of North America, but it's worse elsewhere. Why, in Asia alone...
Please, Miss McLaren, no more statistics. You've made your point over and over again.
I'm sorry if I've tired you. But I wanted to show you the contrast between Earth and your own uncrowded planets. And now I appeal to you, Mr. Rockwood, in the name of the humanity that's common to all our worlds.
You want us to let you send overflow masses to us.
We built those colonies as a safety valve for overpopulation. But now that we need to use that valve, it's shut tight. Mr. Rockwood, I'm a reasonable man. I know we're asking something that amounts to an imposition, but I beg you.
I agree. Earth is terribly overcrowded. The population of Venus is about 700 million. Mars has about 1 billion. Callisto, 300 million. Now, these figures are close to the peak of optimum population. And since our death rates are low, thanks to medical advances, we have to keep a careful watch over birth rates to maintain normal population distribution.
I ask you to
hear me out, please. We're deeply moved and sympathetic to your plight. We wish we could help you. We feel pity, the pity we would have for an idiot who, given a loaded gun, proceeds to blow his brains out.
What did you say?
I knew how overcrowded Earth was before I took your little tour. But we haven't grown overcrowded and won't. Why? Because we have small worlds, smaller than Earth. We can't allow ourselves to breed at Earth's rate. We see the inescapable need for certain self-restrictions.
You don't see the moral obligation to accept some of our excess people?
We see a moral obligation to refuse. To force you to see your real problem and its solution.
I am empowered by the General Assembly, Mr. Rockwood, to exert any means within my power to make you change your mind. And Earth, I'm afraid, has more armed vessels than your 3 worlds combined.
So you're threatening war?
Not war. Survival. You have country estates, rolling green fields, and we don't have an inch of free space.
So you'll fight to make us let you in? You're bigger fools than I thought. 14 billion of you crammed onto one world, and a mere 2 billion of us scattered over 3. Why, a war would ruin you. We'd bomb you in a shotgun spray and knock off 100,000 no matter where we struck. While you'd have to pry us out of nooks and crannies. We'd lose perhaps 100 million people, but you'd lose billions. I think we could risk it.
So you won't yield. You'd risk war even. You won't take colonists. When we colonize the stars, we shall do it differently.
The stars? Yes, you're counting on them as your last hope. But do you seriously think colonizing the stars can help your population problem? Oh, look, Mr. McClellan, even if you invented a workable star drive tomorrow, it would take 5 years before the first ships got off the ground. You're adding 500,000 a day. Now, how many people would these ships hold? 1,000 each? With 500,000 new births a day, you wouldn't be able to ship people to the stars fast enough to keep up. The math's against you, sir. You'd have to run as fast as you could just to stay where you are.
I suppose there's no further negotiation we can do, Mr. Rockwood. I'll arrange for your immediate return to your home planet.
But will you think about what I've said?
I'll think about it, yes. But we have 14 billion people on Earth.
Mr. McClellan, we're not anxious for war. But your threat doesn't scare us either. We'll fight to defend our way of life. And we'll win, sir. Good day, Mr. McClellan.
Human enough to want to pass his troubles along to another person. In this case, he wanted to make it that his troubles were because the colonists wouldn't let people emigrate. That wasn't the trouble. The trouble was emigration had become impossible. And that was the thing that he had to accept. And like the king in the biblical story, he didn't want that interpretation of the handwriting on the computer.
Sit down, Bernie. Tell me how this star drive of yours is coming.
I think we've got it licked, Lester.
But you tell me, are the colonies going to open up? No.
No. But they can't do that. They just can't clam up and refuse to take in Earthmen.
Well, Lester, we built those colonies. They don't have the right. I want to talk about the star drive, Bernie. How close to finished is it?
Well, we haven't fully worked out the field equations yet. But with some fast computer work...
I'm not interested in equations. How long do you think it'll be before Earth has spaceships that can travel faster than the speed of light, fast enough to reach the stars?
I told you before, Lester. Maybe a month, maybe 2 months. Till the pilot model is finished, that is. No more than a year, certainly.
Now, you had some very interesting figures thrown at me today. Have you ever realized how many ships we'd need to send out before we can even make a dent in our population? Hundreds a day.
Well, even so, it would help some to get...
No, it wouldn't. Bernie, I want you to do me a favor. When you perfected your new star drive, hide it. Don't destroy it, because we'll need it someday, but sit on it. Put the schematics away until I give the word, and don't publish your findings. Have you gone crazy, Lester? No, I've suddenly gone stark, raving sane. Look, the new star drive is a dodge, a subterfuge. It's a substitute for the real answer to our problem, Bernie. Venus is not overcrowded. They're controlling population increase there. What does all this have to do with my star drive? Why should I stop work on it? Because it will cloud the issue. The people won't believe the figures. As long as there's what seems to be a way out, they'll cling to it. If you suppress the star drive, there'll be no way out at all. And Earth either cracks wide open or it grows up. There's no middle course. And you're suggesting that I deliberately destroy my life's work? Just for a while. Sure, it's a great thing to explore the stars, but first we need to control ourselves. If the world learns that there's a star drive, they'll think it's a way out. It isn't, but we'll never convince them of it. First, we set up our population control programs, make them see the need for them, get them into operation, and then reveal the existence of the drive. We may have to wait a generation. No, I absolutely refuse. You can't meddle with science this way, Lester. Research must continue. If you interfere with me this way, well, I'll have no choice but to resign. Your resignation is accepted, Bernie. Effective immediately. What? But I only meant that it... I'm sorry, Bernie. So you're actually fine, if you want to call it that. You don't want to understand how disastrous it would be to continue work on the star drive, okay. Your successor will be a man who will understand such things. Maybe he won't be as gifted as you are, Bernie, but that's all right. The stars can wait. Lester, you can't fire me like this. So cold-bloodedly, so ruthlessly. We've been friends for years. You think I don't know that. But all along, I've been soft-hearted, been making concessions, taking the easy way out. We farmed the seas. We colonized 3 worlds. We cleared away half the Antarctic ice pack to make new land. All big, important things, but all dodging the real issue. Now I'm backed against the wall. The whole world is. I can't be soft-hearted anymore. Lester, this doesn't sound like you. I know. You think I like the spot I'm in now? But a new order has to come about. An order which demands strength, tough-mindedness, courage. It's either that or a situation I don't want to think about. I can't let anything stand in the way now. Do I have time to clear out my office? You can have until tomorrow. And remember that you're still bound by security regulations in case you plan to scream to the news sheet. I'll remember it. So long, Lester. Good luck. Thanks. I'm probably going to need it.
There are limitations even to what science can accomplish, the highest technology. The fundamental physical limitation of the amount of matter there is in the universe. Old Malthus was right. With a higher technology, you can push the limit out a little further, but not beyond the limits of the universe. They're fundamental. It becomes necessary, sooner or later, to go in for quality instead of quantity. Not for numbers, but for fineness. Not for bigger, but for better. That's the direction we've got to go.
Presenting the transcription feature, Superman! Up in the sky! Look! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's Superman! And now, Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton.
who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, wages a never-ending battle for truth and justice. When we last saw Kent, he had assumed his role as Superman and gone in search of young Pug Flanagan, suspected of having stolen the treasure map found aboard the ill-fated clipper ship, the Clara M. But in reality, Pug himself had been locked in a storage bin by the man who did steal the map, a half-breed Spaniard named Carlos. Fortunately, Jimmy Olsen overheard a conversation between Carlos and his partner Manuel, clerk at the Panama Hotel, where Kent, Jimmy, and Pug were spending the night. From the conversation, Jimmy learned where Pug was being held prisoner, and also that Carlos planned to sail for the island where the treasure was buried that very night on a fishing boat owned by a man named Sanchez. With Pug released, both boys hurried to the waterfront, determined that the fishing boat, the La Paloma, would not leave port. As our story continues today, they have sneaked into the hold of the boat and are attempting to open a sea cock to sink it. Listen.
Yeah, this thing is jammed tight. Can't budge it.
Let me try it, Pug.
Okay.
It is tight.
Yeah, how? Hey, wait a minute. What's that noise?
Sounds like a boat engine.
It's this boat. We're shoving off.
Pug, what do we do?
We gotta scram fast. Come on. No, wait. There's a guy standing at the top of the companionway steps.
But, Pug, we gotta get off. We just gotta.
Yeah, I know. Too bad we can't get that sea cock open. The old tub wouldn't go far.
But we can open it, so why talk about it? Pug.
Yeah?
I'm gonna walk right up those companionway steps and ask them to let us off. They can have the treasure map.
Take it easy, pal. I got another idea. Follow me.
Where are you going?
Never mind. Keep close. See what's up ahead?
Yeah, it's the motor.
Right. Now watch what I do. No, you better stay here and lay chicken. I'll be right back, Jim.
Golly. I sure hope we get out of this mess. If we don't, Mr. Kent's gonna be worried stiff.
Pug, I'll be right with you.
Pug, what happened?
Just sit tight and listen.
What for? Listen to what?
Just listen.
What? The motor stopped.
No, I stopped it.
But how?
Turn off the gas and rip that line out. It'll take them plenty of time to fix it, too. We're coming down to find out what's wrong. We gotta make a break for it, Jim. Wait till I get away from the steps. All right? Now! Quick, Pug! Break off! Come on, up the steps!
There's a man on deck.
We gotta get by him.
Hey, where are you going? Come here.
Let go of me! Let go! Oh, that got me! Oh! Run, Jim! I kicked him in the shin. Up in the dock. Quick, Jim! Go ahead, Jim. Hop up. I'll follow you.
They can't catch us now. Run for the hotel. We'll get Mr. Cannon.
Oh!
What's the matter, Pug?
I twisted my ankle. I can't run.
Here, I'll help you.
Oh, you beat us back to the hotel. Go ahead.
On your life. Come on. Put your arm around my shoulders.
Beat it, I said. They'll catch you, too.
Oh, they won't. You can hobble.
Oh.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, you ain't got a chance unless you drop me and run, Jim. Don't be a dope.
I'm not leaving you, and that's fine.
Oh.
See? We're off the dock already. We'll lose him in the dock.
Yeah.
Come on. The side street.
Okay.
Ankle hurt much?
Yeah. Oh, why don't you drop me?
Shut up. They'll never find us down this dark alley.
Oh, why did I have to go and pull a stunt like this anyhow?
Don't worry about it. Hey.
Huh?
Wait. This is a blind alley. It doesn't go anyplace. Just a blank wall.
That means we're stuck. I'll beat it, Jim, before they come, will you?
No, keep quiet. Don't move. Maybe they won't come in the alley.
I caught it.
Don't breathe, Pug.
Come on, son. Now we have it.
Oh, this is all my fault, Jim. Got you into this. I'm just no good.
Shut up. Maybe they won't find us.
I'll get some coffee, Sanchez. Right you like. Yes, they are.
Hey, go, will you?
Now we speak to good.
Hey, let go of me.
Go easy on him. He's got a bad ankle. Maybe it's broken.
You have plenty more broken before I am through with him.
I wouldn't be too sure of that, my friend.
What is that?
Pug.
It's Superman.
Take your hands off those boys.
Who are you?
Never mind who I am. Take your hands off those boys before you run into trouble.
And he means trouble, mister.
Put the light on him, Sanchez.
That won't do you any good.
Oh, he wears a fancy dress costume. Go back to your masquerade party, Americano. This is none of your business.
I'm making it my business. Who are these men, Jimmy?
Oh, that fellow Carlos has the treasure map we found on the Clara M. The other one, Sanchez, owns the fishing boat they were sailing on to find the treasure.
Por Dios, I will kill you.
Ow! Oh, you're breaking my arm.
I told you to keep your hands off those boys.
I warn you, I have denied.
You could have a machine gun for all I care.
Sanchez, give it to him.
Come on, Sanchez, give it to me. Not bad. Now I'll give it back.
Boy, look at him slap that guy around.
There.
Oh!
That finishes Sanchez. Now, Carlos, it's your turn.
I will stab you.
Go ahead, try it.
What? Impossible. Look, Pug, the knife was broken on Superman's chin.
You've had your chance, Carlos. Now I'll take mine.
Boy, he's out like a light. I bet he's got the treasure map in his pocket. I'll look. Yeah. See, I was right. Here it is.
All right. Now, you and Pug get back to the hotel with the map as fast as you can. Mr. Kent's waiting there.
Oh, but Superman, Pug's got a sprained ankle.
Yeah.
Couldn't you fly us to the hotel?
Well, I suppose I could. No, on second thought, I can't. I have something I must do. You can manage, but go straight to the hotel. Now, don't stop on the way.
Oh, we won't. Thanks a lot for helping us out. We were in hot water until you came along.
You sure are handy to have around, Superman.
You wouldn't need me if you both didn't manage to get into so much trouble. Well, so long.
So long, Superman. So long. Gee, he's a swell guy.
Yeah. Hey, we better get moving before these two bandits come through. Give me a hand, Jimmy, huh?
Okay. Now, just take it easy.
All right.
There you are.
There. You know, Jen, there's one throw I can't get through my beam. How come the Superman is always there when we need him, huh?
I don't know, Pug. Unless he just knows when trouble's happening. You see, he's got powers.
Careful there, Jimmy. Don't lean too far over that rail. You may fall in.
Oh, I could stand a swim. Oh, I'm getting hot waiting for the ship to sail. You hot too, Pug?
Yeah. I'm burning up, Jim. Hey, when's she gonna pull out?
Oh, in a few minutes. Anyway, hot as you are, you wouldn't want to swim in these waters.
Oh, why not? It looks swell. Clear and blue.
Yeah, I know it does. It's full of sharks and barracuda.
Huh?
Big enough to take your leg off.
Boy.
No kidding.
That's right. Tropical waters are very dangerous, so just you behave yourselves or over you'll go. That applies to you particularly, Pug. I don't want another episode like the last.
I said I was sorry, didn't I? And anyway, if I hadn't gone into the room to get that map, that guy Carlos would have skipped with it, and we never would have caught him.
Pug's right, Mr. King.
Yeah.
I know. That still doesn't excuse him for trying to take the map. Well, that's all gone and forgotten. Oh, look, boys. They're casting off.
Here we go.
Oh, they're waiting for someone to come up the gangplank.
Huh?
See him? It looks like a messenger.
Senor Kent! Senor Kent!
He's calling you, Mr. King.
Yeah. Here, boy.
Senor Kent?
Yes, that's right.
I have a message for you.
Oh, thank you. Here, take this.
What is it, gracias?
Who'll be sending you a message, Mr. King?
Well, we'll find out soon enough.
Oh, what's it say?
Nothing very much.
He's covering up.
Is it important, Mr. Kent?
No, it's just silly.
What does it say?
I'll read it to you. If you value your life, don't sail on this ship.
Wow. No kidding, Mr. Kent. Does it say that?
Yes, but... Oh, it's just someone's idea of a joke. Probably our friend Carlos. And anyway, it's too late to get off. We're pulling out. Oh, I'm hungry. Let's go down and have breakfast. Come on, Jim. Come on, Pug. Well, Pug, what'll it be? Bacon and eggs?
Yeah, it suits me fine.
How about you, Jimmy?
Well, I'm not very hungry.
Oh, Jimmy, stop worrying about that message. I'm sure it was just a feeble attempt on the part of Carlos to get us back on shore.
Well, I know, but ever since we've had that treasure map, we've run into trouble. I think there's a curse on it.
There'll be nothing but skin and bones on you if you don't eat something. Come on now, bacon and eggs?
Oh, all right.
Hey, Mr. Kent, what's that under your plate?
Huh? Where?
There.
Oh.
It's an envelope.
That's funny.
Open it up.
Well, I'll be... Now what, Mr. Kent?
Just one word, printed in big letters.
What's the word?
Beware.
Beware of what? Who can be sending Clark Kent these strange, cryptic messages, and why? Can the treasure map, as Jimmy suggested, have a curse on it? Don't forget to tune in next time for another thrilling episode of Superman.
Tune in the next thrilling installment of the transcription feature, Superman.
Up in the sky, look! It's a bird!
It's a plane! It's Superman! Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine. Presenting the transcription feature, Superman!
Up in the sky, look! It's a bird!
It's a plane! It's Superman!
And now, Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, wages a never-ending battle for truth and justice. Trouble seems to follow the old treasure map that Kent, Jimmy Olsen, and young Pug Flanagan found on the ill-fated clipper ship, the Clara M. First, it was Teak Barnaby, a peg-legged sailor who wanted the map. Then it was Carlos, a murderous half-breed. Now, another strange and mysterious thing has happened. Just as the boat on which they were taking passage from Panama to the United States was about to sail, Kent received a message. A message that read, wait. Jimmy, Pug, and Kent are about to have breakfast in the ship's dining room. Let's join them.
Pug, what'll it be? Bacon and eggs?
Yeah, that suits me.
Good. And how about you, Jimmy?
Oh, I'm not very hungry, Mr. Kent.
Now, Jim, you mustn't worry about that note I received. A lot of silly nonsense.
What did it say again?
Oh, just something about not sailing on this ship.
It said, don't sail on this ship if you value your life.
That sounds pretty serious.
Sure.
Now, it's just as I told you. Carlos probably sent it in order to lure us back on land so that he could get the map. But whatever it is, we've sailed, so too late. In another hour, Panama will be far behind us. Now, come on, how about a couple of fried eggs, Jimmy, and a rasher of crisp bacon, huh?
Well, okay.
That's the boy. How about you, Pug? Bacon and eggs all you want?
Me? Hungrier than I thought. I think I'll have a... Hey, Mr. Kent.
Huh?
What's that under your plate?
Under my plate?
It's an envelope.
Oh, that's funny. Oh. No wonder.
Open it, quick.
Now, take it easy, Jimmy. Take it easy.
What's it say?
Just one word.
What?
Beware.
Hey, this ain't no joke.
You see, Mr. Kent, I told you.
Now, calm down, both of you. Act as though nothing had happened.
I ain't that good an actor.
What are we going to do?
Just sit tight for a moment. Whoever's responsible for this note is on board the ship. Now, you ordered breakfast just as though everything were perfectly normal. I'm going to have a talk with the captain. I'll be back shortly.
Come in.
Captain Estero?
Si, senor. What can I do for you?
My name is Kent, Captain. Clark Kent. I'm a reporter on the Metropolis Daily Planet, one of our leading American newspapers.
Oh, see, I've heard of the Daily Planet, Senor Kent.
I thought as much. Now, Captain Estero, what I came to talk to you about may seem a little strange.
Oh, I'm afraid I do not understand what you mean, senor.
Well, as you probably know, I took passage from Panama with 2 young boys.
See?
Well, a few minutes before the ship sailed, I received this note. Here, read it.
Tell me, who delivered this note to you, senor?
A messenger. But that's not all. I found this under my plate at the breakfast table. There's nothing on it but the one word. Beware.
Yes, I see.
Can you explain these warnings, Captain?
Well, being a newspaperman, Senor Kane, you know that these are very trying times. I need hardly remind you that most of the world is at war. It's best not to ask too many questions.
Oh, Captain, if sailing on this ship involves some danger, I should know about it. I'm responsible for 2 youngsters.
I understand, but I do not think there is any danger.
Then why the notes of warning? Who sent them to me?
That, I am afraid, I cannot answer.
But you know who's on board. You know the passenger list.
Well, this is a very small passenger list. This trip, senor, we are carrying cargo.
What sort of cargo?
I have told you, Senor Kent, under the circumstances, it is best not to ask too many questions. That is all.
But, Captain,
I'm sorry, but I must leave you now. I must go up to the bridge. You will have to pardon me.
All right, I'll leave. But I want you to remember that I'm an American citizen. And so are the 2 boys with me.
Si, senor.
I wonder what's behind all this. He didn't seem particularly surprised at the nature of those messages. Might as well stop over at the purser's office and find out just who's on board. In case anything does happen, I'd like to know with whom I have to deal. In the meantime, I don't want to alarm the boys.
Mr. Kent's been gone for 20 minutes, Pug. Breakfast is ice cold.
Don't worry about him. Why don't you eat?
Oh, I'm not very hungry. Oh, here he comes.
Sorry I took so long. Oh, Jimmy, you haven't touched your egg.
Oh, I was waiting for you. What happened?
Not a thing. Captain agrees with me that it's just a gag.
Gag?
Mm-hmm.
Who would be pulling a gag on him?
Yeah, bunk him. This ain't no gag. Mr. Kent, this is a plot.
What kind of a plot, Pug?
I don't know, but it's a plot.
You've got a very vivid imagination, Pug. It's running away with you. Now, how about finishing breakfast, and then we'll go up on deck and play some shuffleboard, eh?
Yeah, that's a sissy game. I want to steer the ship.
Well, I'm sure the captain would greet that suggestion with cheers.
Oh, did you see the captain, Mr. Kent?
Uh-huh. Didn't I tell you I saw him?
Yes, but I have a feeling you're hiding something.
Jimmy, you're worse than Pug.
And the way you've been staring at the other passengers here in the dining room.
I'm just interested in knowing who our shipmates are during this trip.
Then why don't we go over and introduce ourselves to them and find out who they are?
I don't need to, Pug. I was just talking with the purser about them.
Say, you mean you think one of those other passengers sent you those notes?
Oh, of course not, Jimmy. I told you that was just a gag.
Hey, look at those 2 dark men with the black hair.
Huh?
They look suspicious.
Oh, don't be silly, Pug. They're a couple of coffee growers from Brazil.
What about that gray-haired man there? And the girl with him?
Well, he's a doctor, I understand. And a very capable one, too. The girl there with him is his daughter. Rather nice looking, isn't she?
Gee, Mr. Kent, that old dame over there in the corner in the black dress looks like she's 100 years old, don't she? But she's a cranky old maid, too.
No. That's no way to talk about her, Pug. Probably very nice.
Only 5 others besides us. You wouldn't think it paid to run the boat for 8 passengers, would you?
Well, it's carrying cargo.
What kind of cargo?
The captain refused to... just general cargo.
I know just what you mean, Mr. Kent.
Well, come on, let's all get up on deck, shall we? It's 12 morning.
I'm going to our cabin for a while.
Yeah, me too.
Well, all right. I'll meet you on deck. Make it snappy now. I'll wait for you near the shuffleboard part.
Okay.
There's something fishy around here, Jim.
That's what I think. Mr. Kent's holding something back. He doesn't usually do that with me, so it must be important. Is this our cabin?
Yeah. Hey, Jim, what do you think it is that's worrying Mr. Kent?
I don't know. But it must have something to do with the cargo. He let slip that the captain wouldn't tell him what it was.
We can find out easy enough.
How?
Sit down and look. Ain't no trick in that.
Sneak down into the hold?
Sure.
But that wouldn't be right.
Why not? We ain't gonna steal nothing.
I suppose we could just take a look.
Yeah, that's all. Just a look. Come on, before Mr. Kent comes after us.
Do you know the way to the hold?
You'll find out. Leave it to me.
It's a big ship. If we get lost, Pug.
We ain't gonna get lost. Just follow me. I'm used to finding things.
Be as far down as we can get, Pug.
Yeah. That's the door up ahead.
The door to what?
To the cargo hold. Hey, wait a minute. What's that? I thought I heard something. I gotta get this iron door open. Help me lift the latch. But take it easy. No, it don't slide. It lifts up. Yeah, that's it. Now we got it.
Nobody heard us.
Nah. Come on, we gotta get the door open. Now pull. There. Okay. Slip inside.
It's dark in there, Pug.
Yeah. I got a flash. I bought it from the cabin. Pull the door shut. But easy. Easy, Jimmy.
Now what?
Well, I switched the flash on. There. What?
Nothing but sacks of sugar in here.
Sugar? That can't be. Come on, we'll take a look.
Wait a minute, Pug.
What's the matter?
I hear footsteps.
Yeah, you're right. Tuck down behind these sacks, quick.
Right outside the door, Pug. Think he's coming in?
If he does, don't move.
Pug, he's locking us in.
That's what it sounded like.
That's what it is. He's gone away. We're trapped in here.
Let's try the door. Come on. Come on, shove.
She's locked, all right. We better start banging.
That won't do us no good. Not unless somebody's passing.
We can't stay down here forever, Pug. Come on, let's start pounding on the door.
No, wait. Before we do that, let's see what's in them sacks. That's what we come down here for, ain't it?
Yes, but
what do we gotta lose? Here, grab the end of this sack. We yank it out of the pile and rip her open. Okay, pull. Come on.
Pug, look out, they're falling on top of you. Oh. Pug, where are you? Pug. He's buried under the thatch. I gotta get him out. Pug, answer me. Oh, I can't move these sacks fast enough. They're too heavy. I need help. Help! Open this door! Help!
Will anyone hear Jimmy's cries for help in time to rescue Pug? Once again, the boys have gotten themselves into trouble, and it looks like just the beginning. So don't forget to tune in next time and follow the thrilling story of Superman.
Tune in the next thrilling installment of the transcription feature, Superman.
Up in the sky, look!
It's a bird!
It's a plane! It's Superman! Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
Stand by for Space Cadet in 30 seconds. Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret. Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret.
Yes, Kellogg's brings you the secret of a more delicious breakfast treat. It's new, it's wonderful. It's Kellogg's Raisin Bran, both fruit and cereal, all in one box. You get plump, tender raisins dipped in honeycomb, along with delicious gold and crisp bran flakes. So try the new fruit and cereal combination. Get Kellogg's Raisin Bran, because
Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret.
And now, Kellogg's Corn Flakes, the cereal that helps you have more punch till lunch, invites you to rocket into the future with
Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Stand by to raise ship. Blast off -5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
As roaring rockets blast off to distant planets and far-flung stars, we take you to the age of the conquest of space with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet.
fled from Earth and taken aboard the rocket ship Constellation bound for the star systems of outer space, Tom Corbett and Harris, the crewman who has befriended him, managed to escape while the ship refueled at Venusport, but were then captured by the port guard. Without delay, they were taken to the office of the port commander. And now, Tom and Harris, still dressed in the drab dungarees of ordinary spacemen, stand at attention before a grim-faced warrant officer.
All right, now, let's get this straight. You say your name is Tom Corbett, and that you're a cadet from Space Academy.
Yes, sir.
And you, Harris, are you a cadet, too?
No, sir. I'm a spaceman. Second class in the Constellation.
I see. Corbett, what's a space cadet doing aboard the Constellation?
I told you, sir, I was Shanghaied.
That's true, sir. He was.
I suppose you can identify yourself, Corbett?
Well, they took my uniform away from me. All my papers were in it.
You tell a pretty good story, Corbett, but that's all it is. Unless you can give me proof, I'll have to turn you over to your captain.
Wait, sir. It's easy enough to check. Radio Space Academy. Talk to Commander Arkwright.
That is impossible. Venus is in apposition to Earth. We're on the other side of the sun. We can't make radio contact for another week.
But there must be some way.
Check on Captain Pickering yourself. Talk to the crew.
I don't have to. Captain Pickering can speak for himself. He's waiting in the outer office.
What?
Send Captain Pickering in, please.
But, sir, he'll deny everything.
If you have any accusations to make, you can make them to his face.
You sent for me, Mr. Porter?
Yes, Captain. Come in, please.
I expected to find the port commander here.
He is inspecting the space stations on the equator. I'm handling this case.
That suits me, as long as I get my men back.
They tell a strange story, Captain Pickering. This fellow, Corbett, claims to be a space cadet.
Well, that's one I never heard before.
I wanted to check with you before I took action.
Nothing to check. It's a fairy tale.
Fairy tale, huh? Then how about letting Mr. Porter aboard the Constellation? Let him talk to the other space ants.
Mr. Porter's welcome aboard any time, but I'm sure he's got other things to do.
You're bluffing. If he knew what the conditions are aboard your
That's
ship...
enough out of you. As you can see, Mr. Porter, this boy's a troublemaker. Has been ever since he came aboard. I'm sorry we signed.
Then let me go.
I would. I'd leave you both here to be tried as deserters. But I'm short-handed.
The choice is up to you, Captain. By space law, you can turn him over to us for disciplinary action or punish him yourself with a fine or extra duty.
Take us to the port commander. Give us a chance to tell him our story.
I'm in command here, Harris. I'll decide what to do with you.
Well, Mr. Porter, I think you can see from their actions what kind of men we're dealing with.
Yes, I certainly can.
Of course, if you want to wait for the port commander to make the final decision...
Not at all. Just get these troublemakers out of here and blast off.
Right you are. And don't worry. When I get them out in space, they'll learn to toe the mark.
Wow. Looks like the space cadets are rocketing on all tubes. There's real adventure ahead, but they're ready for it. Have to be prepared for it all the time. And one way to do it is to make sure they get enough quick energy food. Helps them blast off in a hurry. Take breakfast, for instance. Every space cadet knows the importance of eating a good, nourishing breakfast every morning. And he knows to build it around Kellogg's Corn Flakes. Because Kellogg's Corn Flakes are a real quick energy food. As Astro would say,
every spoonful of Kellogg's Corn Flakes helps me get set for a quick blast-off. Helps me zoom right off and helps me keep zooming right up till noon. Why, I wouldn't think of setting out on a mission without first fueling up on some quick energy food. And so, I always stow away a big bowl of Kellogg's Corn Flakes soon as I hear the alert.
And Astro could tell you, too, that there's mighty swell eating in a bowl of Kellogg's Corn Flakes. Kellogg's Special Toasting brings out all the sweet, lively corn flavor in every flake. So do as Astro does. Build your breakfast around Kellogg's Corn Flakes, and not only will you be having yourself a swell flavor treat, but you'll be helping yourself to more punch till lunch. More punch till lunch. More punch till lunch. With Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Unable to persuade the warrant officer in command of Venusport that he has been shanghaied, Tom Corbett is taken back aboard the rocket ship Constellation with his newfound friend, Harris. And the ship blasts off for a long voyage into deep space. Meanwhile, back at Space Academy.
Cadet Astro reporting as ordered, sir.
Well, Astro, any luck?
Oh, not a bit, Captain Strong. We couldn't find a trace of Tom anywhere.
Come in.
Roger. Any luck? Yeah, I think so, Astro.
Well, out with it, Manning.
I found an cab driver in town and remember seeing Tom. He picked Tom up at a stand in town about 2300 Sunday night.
Must have been on his way back here to the academy.
No, the cabbie said Tom was sick or something. He was unconscious and a merchant spaceman had him in tow.
A merchant spaceman?
Yes, sir. The driver took both of them to the terminal spaceport, and the last he saw of Tom, he was being carried aboard a ship called the Constellation.
The Constellation? I've heard of her. She's a deep spacer. Usually travels out to Sirius and Alpha Centauri. Now, let me see now. I have a log of all space flights leaving Earth in the past 5 days. Oh, yes. Here we are. With the Constellation. She was due to stop at Venusport for supplies and to blast off for deep space at 0930 Earth time today.
Well, that's half an hour ago.
Come on up to the communications room, boys. We'll contact Venusport right now.
What are we waiting for, Captain Strong?
We're in apposition to Venus. A direct signal can't get through. They're setting up a relay transmission, Earth to Mars, to Titan, and back to Venus. Captain Strong here.
Warrant Officer Porter, Venusport. Go ahead, Captain Strong.
Listen, Porter, this is urgent. Have you cleared the deep spacer Constellation yet?
The Constellation? She blasted off the Sirius 15 minutes ago. Why?
Well, we have good reason to believe that one of our cadets is being held illegally aboard that ship.
What?
A cadet by the name of Corbett. Tom Corbett.
Corbett? Thank you. Are you sure, Captain?
Almost. Why? Have you seen him or heard anything about him?
Well, I don't quite know how to say this. I'm afraid I've made a terrible mistake.
Well, get to the point, man.
Well, Corbett was here, told me a fantastic story about being Shanghaied, and I didn't believe it.
You didn't?
No, he didn't have any identification. Couldn't prove his story, so I sent him back to the Constellation.
Oh, that rockhead.
I'm sorry, Captain.
Well, never mind that now. Listen. Send every available patrol ship after the Constellation.
But there are none in port now. I can pull them off orbit, but it'll take 2 days to catch up.
2 days? Blast it, that's too long. They'd never make it.
Well, I'm terribly sorry, Captain. If there's anything else I can...
Oh, you've done enough already, Porter. End transmission. Well, there's only one ship faster than the Constellation, and that's the Polaris. How long will it take you two to get ready?
We're ready now, sir.
Good. Then get aboard the Polaris. We raise ship immediately.
Now hear this. Second watch, time 2. All hands on extra duty will not be relieved until 0700.
Hey, you hear that, Tom? 4 more hours on the power deck for us.
What does Pickering think we are? We can't work like this on short rations.
He'll see that we do.
That warrant officer at Venusport had only listened to me.
You made a good try, Tom.
Well, they don't pay off on tries, Harris. And now what? Do we just keep slaving down here until we drop?
That's just about it, Tom. Until we drop.
Now hear this. Fourth watch, turn 2. All hands on extra duty will not be relieved until 1500.
Another 4 hours. I can't take it, Tom. This heat. No water, no food.
Okay. Take a breather, Harris. I'll cover for you.
No, Tom, you'd only get yourself in trouble.
Harris. Harris. Hey, give me a hand here. Someone help me. Quick! Well, how are you feeling now, Harris?
Better, Tom. That broth helps some.
Oh, that rotten space slug. He's trying to kill us.
I suppose so. He's master of this ship. He can do anything he wants.
Maybe. But I notice some of the crew are beginning to grumble about the way he's working us.
They always grouse. Don't mean anything.
Listen, how many of the space hands do you figure would be loyal to Captain Pickering in case of trouble?
Trouble? You mean mutiny? Now, hold on, Tom. This is crazy. You can't pull a mutiny in deep space.
Why not?
There'd be no one to navigate. The ship would become a derelict.
I can navigate.
You?
Sure, I'm a space cadet. I've had plenty of training in astrogation. I know I could get the ship back to Venusport if I could just reach the controls.
We'd be taking an awful chance. Pickering would kill us if we failed.
It's better to go down fighting than die this way.
I've talked to some of the space ends. Tom. 5 of them are with us.
Good. Uh-oh. What now?
Now hear this. All hands report to the main deck on the double. Any man who fails to report will be shot. That is all.
Well, what do you suppose that means?
I don't know, Tom, but I don't like the sound of it. I don't like it at all.
All right, you men, stand to.
Look, Harris, there's Captain Pickering. And there's Dawson with a couple of deck officers.
They're all armed, ready for trouble.
Come on. Tap your tubes and pay attention. That's better. Now, I know not to tell you I'm an old hand at dealing with spacemen, and I've been watching you ever since we blasted off. You're a surly bunch of space rats. I don't like the looks of you, and I can smell a mutiny a light year away.
What do you mean?
You heard me. I said mutiny. I know who the ringleaders are, and I'm going to make an example of them. I promise it'll be an example you'll never forget. When I pick out these 2 men, I want the rest of you to go back to your station. Any man who lags will get 50 hours extra duty on short ration.
Wait, men. Listen to me.
Tom, no.
How long are you going to stand for this? Captain Pickering's no better than a pirate.
No, stand for respect, man.
This is your last chance. Take over the ship. I can get you back to Earth, and we'll put Pickering behind bars where he belongs.
Catch him up.
You did it, Tom. The men are starting to mutiny.
I've got to get up to the control deck before Pickering does.
Go on, I'll take care of Dawson.
Right, but watch yourself. He's armed.
Don't worry. Get going. Oh, no, you don't.
Look out, Harris.
Never mind me. Get to the control room. All right, Tom. Dawson's through. I'll take care of Pickering now.
Right. I'm at the control room hatch. Hold him for another second.
Stop him! Stop him! Don't let him close that hatchman! Kill him!
Made it. Now for the controls. No time to plot a new orbit back to Earth. I'll have to swing her into a 180 turn and rack up a true course later. Let's see. Steering vane set for 1.5. Full burst on starboard jet. And take a lateral sweep. That should do it.
Corbett, this is Captain Pickering. Now listen to me.
What do you want, Pickering?
I'll make a deal with you.
Fat chance. I've got control of the ship now.
Open the hatch, Corbett. Give yourself up.
Nothing doing, Pickering. You're over a barrel and you know it.
We put down the mutiny and captured your friend Harris.
What?
I have him right here beside me. If you give yourself up, I won't blast him. You have my word on that. If you refuse, he gets it.
How do I know you're telling the truth?
I'll put him on so you'll know he's still alive. All right, Harris, go ahead.
Tom, don't trust him. Save yourself. Nobody can help me anymore.
All right, Corbett, his life is in your hands. Now I'm going to count to 10. If you don't open the hatch, Harris gets it. 1, 2.
I can't let him shoot Harris in cold blood. But if I give myself up... Oh, what's the use? I don't have any choice.
Just 2 more seconds left, Corbett.
Okay, Pickering, you win. Don't shoot, Pickering. The hatch is open.
How are we doing, Astro? Any word from Manning topside?
No, he's glued to the radar scanner, Captain Strong, but nothing to report yet.
Well, frankly, I don't think we have a prayer of overtaking a Constellation. She's got too big a lead on it.
I hate to admit it, sir, but I'm afraid you're right. Captain Strong, I've got a scanner reading.
With a Constellation?
Yes, sir.
You sure, Roger?
Look, Astro, if you ran your power deck as well as I handle the radar bridge, we wouldn't have any problem.
All right, cut that, Manning. What's their position?
I'll show it to you on the solar chart, sir. There's the spot.
Well, that's strange. The ship must have made a lateral sweep off course and then corrected it.
Why would they do that?
Well, I don't know, Astro. But it's given us the break we need. We can overtake her now.
Then who cares why they did it?
Stand by, Tom. We're on our way.
All right, Captain Pickering, you're back in control of your ship. Now, where's Harris?
You won't be seeing Harris anymore, Corbett.
What do you mean?
You gave your word he wouldn't be harmed.
You weren't listening closely. I said I wouldn't blast him, and I didn't.
Then what happened? Where is he?
Drifting somewhere in space.
Why, you filthy space
God,
rat.
move, Corbett, or I'll blast you to a cinder.
Why don't you get it over with?
Because with Dawson gone, I'm short a navigator. You're taking Dawson's place.
You're space happy. I'll never navigate this
Don't
ship.
try anything.
Attention, Constellation. Attention, Constellation. Polaris pulling alongside with boarding party.
Captain Strong.
Message received and understood.
Looks like you're all washed up, Pickering. When they find me here...
Sorry to disappoint you, Corbett, but when the boarding party arrives, they won't find any trace of you on this ship. I'm getting rid of you once and for all.
And now, all you future space cadets, boys and girls, let's take time out for a question to start off our Kellogg's Cornflakes Space Quiz to see how your knowledge of space and the universe is. Here's our first question. What is it that distinguishes the planet Saturn that makes it different? The one thing that helps you tell it from all others. Well, it's simply that the planet Saturn is surrounded by a tremendous ring. That's where the space cadets get the expression rings of Saturn. And here's an easier question. What is it that makes Kellogg's Cornflakes the favorite ready-to-eat cereal of the whole universe? The answer to that one is easy. It's that famous Kellogg flavor. The way Kellogg's special toasting process brings out all the sweet, lively corn flavor in each golden flake makes each flake crisp and tender. Yes, flavor is what makes Kellogg's Cornflakes the favorite ready-to-eat cereal of people everywhere. It's the kind of flavor that brings you back for seconds. Keeps you reaching for that box of Kellogg's Cornflakes time after time, morning after morning. So make sure you get the one and only Kellogg's Cornflakes.
When Tom's desperate attempt at mutiny fails, his last chance of escape from the rocket ship Constellation is seemingly gone. Then suddenly the Polaris draws alongside, and Captain Pickering is ordered to stand by for a boarding party. Captain Strong and Cadets Astro and Manning make a thorough search of the Constellation, but can find no trace of Tom.
Now, look here, Strong. I'm getting a little fed up with this. You're delaying my voyage for no reason at all. You and your blasted cadets don't get off my ship in 2 minutes. I'll see that you're broken.
You'll be cleared when we've finished our search, Pickering, not before.
Captain Strong! Captain Strong!
Yes, Astro. We found something. You did?
Yes, sir, Tom. Sarge, you've searched the entire ship from nose to tail. The cadet you're looking for isn't aboard.
Now, listen.
Now I insist that you let me resume course. You've had your chance. I've given you every bit of cooperation. What more do you want?
Please, Skipper, don't let him talk you out of it.
No, it isn't a question of talking me out of anything. We've searched the ship, and we haven't found Tom.
But his watch,
You
sir.
might be mistaken, Astro. All right, Pickering. Let's go back to the control deck, and I'll sign your clearance into the log.
What are we going to do? Look, the skipper's signing the log. In another 2 minutes, Pickering will be underway again. I know, Roger, and I'm just as sure as you are that Tom's aboard somewhere. But how can we prove it?
All right, Pickering, there you are. You're cleared for the rest of your voyage.
Thank you.
That does it, Astro. Yeah. Hey, wait a minute. Look at that indicator on the control panel. Huh? Which one? The main rocket firing tube. One of them has mass in the reactor. So what? But we're drifting. There shouldn't be anything in the tube. The reactors only feed in during acceleration. Hey, you're right. Say, Roger, did you check those tubes? Did you look inside them? No, did you? Jumping Martian mice, I wonder...
All right, boys. Let's get back aboard the Polaris.
Oh, wait a minute, sir. There's something wrong.
Are you starting that routine again, Cadet? Get them off my ship.
No, Skipper, listen. We didn't search the firing tube. And there's some kind of mass in one of them. Look at the control panel indicator.
Why, that's just a gas accumulation. Here, I'll blast it out for you.
No, get away from that panel.
Get your hands off me, you young space butt.
Sorry to be disrespectful, sir, but maybe this will stop you.
Go back.
Yeah, so right on the button. I'm sorry I had to do that, sir, but if he fired up that tube with Tom in it...
Well, I know, Astro, but you'd better get down there right now and make sure you're right. If Tom isn't there, then you're in trouble.
Well, Tom, how does it feel to be in a cadet uniform again?
I never thought I'd be so glad to wear one, Roger.
You sure had us worried, Tom.
Speak for yourself, Astro. I wasn't worried about the lug for a minute.
All right, boys, take your stations and prepare for deceleration. We enter Earth's atmosphere in 4 minutes.
Right, Captain Strong. It can't be too soon for me, sir.
Aren't you worried about getting back, Tom?
Worried, sir?
Well, you're over 2 weeks AWOL, you know.
Jumping jets? I forgot about that.
Look at his face. He really is worried.
Well, who wouldn't be? 2 weeks AWOL? Oh, gosh, sir, what do you think they'll do to me?
Well, under the circumstances, I think Commander Arkwright won't be too hard on you.
Of course, he may not give you any weekend leave for a while.
Weekend leave? After what happened on my last one, I don't think I'll ever take another as long as I live.
Don't miss the next action-packed adventure with Tom Corbett and the Space Cadet when death lurks in the void as the boys begin Operation Hide and Seek. Tune in, same time, same station for the next thrilling interplanetary adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet.
Brought to you by Kellogg's Corn Flakes, the cereal that helps you have more punch till lunch.
Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, starring Frankie Thomas, also appears in the comic sections of many of Canada's leading newspapers. Look for a daily and in weekend edition. Featured in the cast are Al Markham as Astro, Jan Merlin as Roger Manning, and Edward Bryce as Captain Strong. Today's program was directed by Drex Hines. Jackson Beck speaking.
Say, like to make breakfast more fun, have a different cereal every morning? Then ask Mom to get Kellogg's Variety Pack. You see, Kellogg's Variety Pack is an assortment of all favorite cereals. 10 individual-sized packages in one handy carton. With Kellogg's Variety on the table, you can pick and choose to your heart's content from such favorites as Kellogg's Corn Flakes, Pep, Rice Krispies, Kellogg's Raisin Bran, and others. Remember, each of the 10 individual packages in Kellogg's Variety Pack is a generous service. You choose and open your own package yourself. And because each package contains exactly one bowl full, the cereals stay extra crisp and fresh. So just for fun, make breakfast fun. Ask Mom to get Kellogg's Variety Pack.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. Escape, brought to you by your Richfield gasoline dealer and the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York. Marketers of Richfield gasolines with Xylene, Rich Lube, all-weather motor oil, and other famous petroleum products. Look for the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps.
Tonight, we escape to India, and the story of a man trapped in his bed by a crate, the most deadly, poisonous snake in the world, as Roald Dahl tells it in his terrifying story, Poison.
Listen, it's an awful good story, but to get the point, you got to understand about two things. What kind of a guy Harry Pope was and what kind of a snake a crate is. First, the crate. You spell it K-R-A-I-T. They're in India, the crates are. Little snakes, sometimes not more than 3 or 4 inches long. You have to look real careful if you're going to see one at all. Really almost like a worm. Except that it's the most poisonous snake in the world. It can bite faster than a bumblebee, and when it does, you go up like a firecracker, swell up like a hot water bottle, and in fly the angels. Crate. Tiny little snake. Now about Harry Pope. Funny guy. He had it in for anybody who wasn't American, who didn't speak his language. He called them foreigners, and he called them that army word, gook. Didn't matter if they were French, Italian, or Japanese. Gook. Foreigner, he'd say. It's kind of buggy on the subject. Funny guy. Well, Harry and me, we got sent out to Bombay on this construction job, and that's where the trouble started. You see, except for the two of us, the crew was made up of local boys, Hindus and Muslims, 40 of them. Harry was like a cat in a room full of dogs, had his back up every minute. After a month or so, it began to wear him out. Got so his appetite wasn't right. He was smoking 3 and 4 packs a day, and he wasn't getting his sleep. I used to try to straighten him out. Used to tell him he was wrong.
No, Woody, there's no use talking to you.
Listen, Harry, they're all good boys. Why don't you take it easy?
Woody, you and I are good friends, but there are a lot of things you just don't understand.
You ought to take it easy, Harry. They're all human beings, just like you and me.
They're gooks, Woody. Foreigners. Look it. Think about it this way. How'd you like your sister to marry one of them?
I haven't got a sister, and anyway, you've asked me that before.
Yeah, you see? You won't even make the effort to understand.
Well, that's how it was with Harry, and you know about the crate. Now about what happened. It was June of last year. It was hot and sticky, even though the sun was down. I was putting on a clean shirt to go out.
Oh, man, I'm really beat tonight. What's with you, Woody? What's a clean shirt for?
Going out.
What do you got, a date?
No, I thought I'd stop off at Dr. Ganderby's. He promised he'd show me the photos he made down in the leper colony.
Ganderby?
Yeah. These photos are supposed to be pretty interesting stuff. Well, how about it, Harry? Would you like to come along?
Ganderby? He's a Hindu. A gook. Foreigner. I don't want to spend no evening with a gook. Shoot, not old Harry.
So I went off to the doctor's, and Harry went to bed with a detective story. I had a very interesting evening. Later, old Harry was plenty sorry that he stayed home. I didn't leave the doctor's until around midnight, and when I drove back through the sleeping city, it was very quiet and dark. I thought about the pictures of the lepers I'd seen. I remember thinking, I hope Harry's awake, because I'd like to tell him about those pictures. And when I got home, I was glad to see the light in his room was still burning.
Harry, you up?
I didn't get an answer. Probably fell asleep reading.
Harry, you awake, Harry?
Woody.
Harry, boy, what's the matter, kid?
Stop, Woody. Take off your shoes.
I couldn't tell what was the matter, but I knew he was serious, whatever it was about, so I did what he wanted. He was in bed, under his netting, with the reading light on, his book on the floor. He lay quite still, and the sheet came halfway up his chest. He was wearing those corny pajamas of his with the big checks all over them. And the pajamas were soaked in the sweat that was rolling off his face. He lay like a corpse, flat on his back, with his hands lying dead on the bed. His hands, even the backs of them, were sweating. His eyes looked like he was watching somebody saw his leg off.
Woody, what's the matter, boy?
It's a crate.
Crate? Where?
For man is sick.
Where? Where's the crate?
In here.
Under the netting?
No. Under the sheet.
Where'd it bite you?
It hasn't. Yet.
Where under the sheet?
Right on my belly.
Holy son.
You can wake it up if you don't cut out that yellow.
How'd it get in there?
I don't know. Came up under the netting, I guess. Or it's been in the bed all day.
Is it a big one?
No. Crate don't have to be big. Looked about 3 or 4 inches. Come along my side. I didn't move. It went under the sheet. One of them folds. One of them wrinkles there over my belly.
How long ago did it come?
Hours. Hours and hours and days and weeks. Woody, I've been waiting a year for you to get home.
You must be sleeping in there, huh?
Yeah. I think it is.
All right, now listen, Harry. Maybe it'll wake up and go away. Go home or something, huh?
I can't wait, Woody. I've been lying here scared I'd move suddenly and wake it up.
Yeah, you're scared and it'll bite.
I've been lying here scared to death I'd cough.
All right, don't you worry about a thing, Harry. I know just what to do.
Where you going, Woody? Don't leave me.
The thing was to be ready to cauterize the bite right away. I'd heard about one method. I went out to the kitchen, and I got a whole fistful of those big kitchen matches, and I took them back to the bedroom. Arranged them all with the heads together. Held them like you'd hold a torch.
What are you going to do? What are the matches for?
Now listen, Harry, here's how it goes. These will cauterize, see? So we count 3, flip back the sheet, and you jump out of bed. Now you follow me?
You're out of your
mind. No, listen, Harry. If the crate bites you, I strike the bundle and press it against the spot, and it burns out the poison, see? Well, the matches...
Get away from me. You're a bubble-headed maniac.
No, Harry, I'm only trying to...
Listen, Woody, take your matches and your bright ideas and get the heck out of here. Call the doctor.
The doctor? I never thought of that.
Now get to it.
Okay, Harry. Who do you want, Ganderby or Forsyth?
Forsyth. Things are bad enough without you. Gotta bring that gook in here.
I dug through the telephone book and I found Dr. Matson B. Forsyth's number and I dialed it.
This is the residence of the Dr. Matson B. Forsyth, please.
Yeah, let me speak to the doctor. It's very urgent.
Who is calling, please?
Arthur Woods.
Who?
Woods. Arthur Woods.
Spell, please.
Woods. W.
W.
O.
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 You have already said O. I have already written O. Have the kindness to give me the next letter, please.
O. It's O after O.
Please?
Look, my name is Woods.
Spell, please.
W. O. O. D.
W-O-O. Aha.
D. S. Woods.
Woods. W-O-O-D-S. Mr. Woods.
That's right. That's just right. Now, let me speak to the doctor, please.
Sorry. Doctor not in. Call tomorrow.
Across the room, Harry lay very still, sweating, trying to keep every muscle relaxed. His face was beginning to twitch a little. I was scared. If that twitch should spread, I called the doctor's house again.
Please, I do not understand.
Look, I said if you don't tell me where the doctor is, I'm going to come over there and pull your arms off, and then I'm going to take you by the neck.
The doctor is at the club, please.
What club?
The country club. Ring 673.
Harry lay very still, fighting the twitches, trying to keep from jumping out of his skin, while I waited for the bartender at the club to locate Dr. Forsyth. After about 5 minutes and nothing, I got this.
Are you there?
Listen, Doctor, you got to get over here right away. This is Arthur Woods, and my partner. He's got a snake in the bed with him. Doctor?
Would you mind repeating that, old boy?
I said snake. He's got a snake in the bed with him.
Snake? Oh, Jolly. I say, who is this? This is Captain Smythe speaking.
Please, Doctor, you got to get over here right away. It's urgent.
Smythe, you can. You don't fool me. Not for an instant, you don't.
Oh, please, Doctor.
Snake in bed.
Listen, is this Dr. Forsyth speaking?
Yeah, of course not. It's Colonel Harcourt.
Oh, well, let me speak to the doctor, please.
Oh, but you can't, old fellow.
Why not?
Why, he's jolly well passed out, don't you know?
Passed out.
Like a mackerel. Snake in the...
Listen, Harry, you got to forget all this prejudice stuff. Ganderby's your only chance.
No, he's a gook.
He went to Oxford, Harry.
He's a gook.
It's him or the Undertaker.
He's a gook.
I'm going to call him, Harry.
All right. Go ahead, call him. But he's a gook.
I called him. When I mentioned crate, he was quiet for a good 10 seconds, and then he said he'd be right over. And he was within 5 minutes. He was wearing felt slippers, and he moved silently into the bedroom. He was carrying his black satchel, and when I saw the lamplight glinting softly in his steel-rimmed spectacles, saw his wise, gentle eyes, his bald brown head, I thought to myself, why, he looks just like Mahatma Gandhi. He looked silently at Harry and smiled encouragingly. Harry looked at him, looked at me, and looked away.
Now, first we must very carefully remove the netting from about the bed. Mr. Pope, I want you to pay no attention to us. You are to concentrate on being very quiet, on letting the little snake sleep. It is a very little snake, and it is very tired. You must tell yourself this, and you must believe it is necessary for it to sleep.
Yeah.
Mr. Wood, help me lift the netting very slowly.
Yeah.
Up.
And up.
Good.
What are you going to do for me?
Think about the little snake.
What do you think I'm thinking about? What are you going to do for me?
The snake. It is here?
It's in one of those folds over his abdomen, Doctor.
Now we all know where it is.
Pretend you are the Mother of the little snake, you are keeping it warm. It is sleeping. That is good.
Just so as it don't wake up and want breakfast.
You joke? That is good.
I wish I was back home in the good old USA.
Now then, what are you going to do, Doctor? I have a serum here. You will inject it into the blood of Mr. Pope. Then, as he puts it, the little snake may breakfast to his heart's content without harm to Mama.
His hands were brown and slender and astonishingly deft. He poked the hypodermic into a capsule of thick yellowish stuff, the serum, and then with infinite care he drew the plunger slowly and steadily upward. The glistening chamber filled. He withdrew the needle, laid the hypodermic down, and then with all the gentleness in the world, he began to fold back Harry's sleeve. It was as though he were folding rare old lace. He inched the sleeve carefully, under, and up Harry's arm until the vein came into view.
I'm going to fasten the tourniquet on your arm now. It will be just above the elbow. Do not move your arm. Do not twitch your muscle.
Gently, gently he tightened the rubber tourniquet, and Harry's arm began to flush dark. The vein began to swell blue and tight. Harry kept his eyes on the ceiling.
Now I'm going to insert the needle in the vein. You must not react. By that I mean you must not tense your abdominal muscles. Believe me, Mr. Pope, this will not hurt.
Very carefully he placed the syringe almost flat against the arm, slid the needle in sideways through the skin and into the blue vein, slid it slowly but so firmly that it went in smooth as a knife going into a cheese.
Doc, shh. You're good, aren't you, Doc?
You must believe that.
You're going to let me die, are you, Doc?
I'm your friend. You must believe that.
Are you, Doc? You won't let me die?
No, I will not let you die. Now, be still and think about that.
With all the care in the world as he had pushed the needle into the vein, now he pressed the plunger down, pressed the serum through the needle and into Harry Pope's body. I watched Harry. His eyes were on the wise, gentle face of Dr. Ganderby. His eyes wanted desperately to believe what Ganderby had told him. Now the hypodermic was empty, and slowly it was withdrawn. And then slowly the deft, graceful little hands loosened the rubber tourniquet. And then Ganderby looked up, met Harry's eyes, and smiled. Harry tried to smile back, but the smile jumped and twitched and died.
You're taking care of me, huh, Doc?
Yes, my son. Now you must be still while the serum is pumped through your body. Be very still and be very assured. I'm your friend. The serum will save you. You will escape harm.
He beckoned to me, and I followed him out of the room and out onto the dark porch. The air was heavy and hot. Ganderby stared out at the blackness, drummed his fingers softly on the railing.
Your friend is in grave danger.
Yeah, but the serum. You gave him the serum.
I gave him the serum.
It isn't any good?
It is the finest known to medical science, and it is worthless.
To most of us, science is something strange and mysterious. We think of magic medicines and supersonic planes. But here's a scientific achievement that's as real as your car and as near as your Richfield dealer. It's xylene, one of the highest anammox gasoline components ever discovered by scientific research. And xylene can benefit you today, because every gallon of Richfield gasoline now contains xylene. Xylene to give your car that smooth, knockless power that eats up the miles. Xylene for that swift, eager response you need in traffic. Furthermore, there's a Richfield gasoline to fit your motor. Your Richfield dealer offers 2 great Richfield gasolines, both with xylene. Get Richfield High Octane at regular price for the average motor. Or Richfield Ethyl. Ethyl at its best for top results in highest compression motors. Get Richfield gasoline tomorrow. Stop where you see the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps. And now we return you to Escape.
So there it was. Harry Pope, the man who had been an enemy of anyone and everyone who didn't come from his country or speak his language, was now halfway through death's door, and his only hope lay in a Dr. Ganderby of another race, another creed, another country, and another color. Now, for the first time in his life, Harry had made a gesture of friendship toward a person of another race. First time. And it seemed to me the last.
No, my friend. The serum is worthless.
So what can we do then? The snake is bound to wake sooner or later. Harry will move. He won't be able to help himself, and the snake will strike.
We must think.
Look, I'll shoot it. I can hold the gun low and flat so that even if I hit Harry, it won't be a penetrating wound, and I'll blow the snake sheet and all, clear the bed, huh?
But you don't even know which of the many folds and creases in that sheet is the harbor of the snake.
Yeah.
You might shoot the air.
Yeah.
You would most certainly wake the snake then.
No, we can't do that.
I think I have a solution, Mr. Wood.
Yeah?
We will anesthetize the snake. Yes. We will use nitrous oxide or ether or chloroform. I think the last. Chloroform, yes.
We put the snake out right while he's lying on Harry? Is that the idea?
That is it, Mr. Woods. Now, if you will please drive quickly down to my house, my boy will show you where I keep my supplies. The chloroform is in a bottle with an orange label.
Orange label?
Yes. Bring it back as quickly as you can. I will stay with Mr. Pope and try to keep him assured.
He seems to like you.
We all like the doctor when we are sick.
I drove it as fast as I could. The houseboy at the doctor's thought I was a madman at first, but then he decided in my favor, showed me where the stuff was. I found the bottle with the orange label, smelled it to make sure, and then took off back to the house. I eased the car up the driveway and tiptoed into the bedroom.
You're my friend, Doctor? My pal?
Yes, I am your friend, and I am not going to let any harm come to you.
Here's Woody. He's my friend, too, Doc.
Here's the stuff, Doctor.
Woody, I've been on awful dope all my life. You know that, Woody?
It's okay, Harry. You're going to be okay from now on.
The doc here. My friend here. I didn't like him when he first came into the room. Why? Because he wasn't an American or even an Englishman. What do you know about that, huh? He's my friend.
It's okay, Harry. You're going to be okay now, boy.
I've been a prize dope.
Mr. Wood, you'll have to help me.
Right. He pulled a prescription pad out of his case, tore the cardboard backing off, and twisted it into a neat little funnel. He laid this on the edge of the bed. And then he took the piece of hollow rubber tubing which had been used as a tourniquet, and he began to slide it into the sheet. It went in where the sheet ended, across Harry's chest, and he slid it down. He slid it slowly, so slowly that although I was watching it, I didn't see it move. Hours seemed to crawl by. The tube inched invisibly on and down, down and down, past the unseen buttons of his jacket, past the unseen cord to his trousers, and then it stopped. Ganderby had sent it by a route which did not cross any of the creases in the sheet. He was being very careful not to prod the snake with it. He was sweating, too, now, sweating and biting his lip with his teeth. Funny, I remember now, one was gold. I remember staring at it while he inched that tube.
Now the funnel. I fit it into the end of the tube, and we are ready. Mr. Pope, this is going to be very cold. The evaporation of the chloroform will cause a sharp lowering of the temperature. You must be prepared for this. It will take rather a long time, another factor for which you must prepare yourself. The snake is a reptile, and reptiles do not react quickly to the anesthetics which are intended for the use of warm-blooded animals. Bear these things in mind. Are you ready?
Sure. Friend.
He opened the bottle and began to drip the stuff into the funnel. Slowly, very slowly, drop by drop, the clear liquid entered the tube and traveled a long, dark route to Harry Pope's stomach, where the crate lay sleeping. Drop by drop, a pale, swirling vapor hung over the funnel. Down there on the sheet, where the tube ended, a wet gray patch began to spread, the chloroform spreading and evaporating, spreading and evaporating. The room began to reek of it. And I remembered other places and other times, hospitals, operations, the death of loved ones, smell of chloroform. Harry began to twitch now, his nose. He seemed to be in agony.
Woody.
Harry, what is it?
I think I'm gonna sneeze.
Don't do it, boy. Hang on, Harry. You gotta hang on. Don't. Ganderby looked at Harry's face. He reached up, pressed his knuckle against some nerve on Harry's upper lip, and the agonized look vanished. The relentless dripping of the chloroform continued. Harry was getting cold. I could see goose flesh along his arms, across the top of his chest where the jacket was open. Ganderby looked at this and stopped pouring.
That is enough. I think our little friend should be thoroughly unconscious now. Mr. Pope, you must remain very still. We are going to remove the sheet now.
Anything you say, Doctor.
Mr. Woods, you take the other side. We will have to do this ever so carefully.
We each took a side of the hem. I watched Ganderby and did everything that he did. Harry's arms were still flat on the bed, pointing toward his feet. We inched the sheet under and free of these. It was rough, because we had to do it without disturbing the main area of the sheet. When it was free of his arms, we began to raise it slowly, gathering the material in our hands as we progressed ever so slowly down Harry's chest. We reached the end of his jacket. No sign of the snake. My hands were beginning to shake. Ganderby paused while I turned my head away for air. The odor of chloroform was stifling. And then we went on, slowly, thread by thread, raising the sheet and easing it away, down past the cord of his pajamas, and down, and still no sign of the snake. I'd stopped looking for it by now. I was concentrating on keeping my arms from shaking. And then, quite suddenly, we were done. Ganderby dropped the sheet on the floor. Harry lay on his back, not moving, but watching us with wide, terrorized eyes. Ganderby squinted at both sides of Harry, at his legs.
Where is it?
It is not as you suppose on the outside of your pajama pants. It must be up one of the legs.
Harry, no! Stop it!
I don't see it.
Kick those tatters of cloth, the remains of his pants.
Yeah. No, nothing.
The bed. Under the bed.
Yeah. Move your feet, Harry. Harry, move your feet. No, there's nothing.
Mr. Pope, are you quite certain you saw a snake? Sometimes when we are very tired, we find our autosuggestive faculties run a bit out of hand.
Are you calling me a liar?
Why, no. I merely say that the autosuggestive
faculties... Are you telling me I'm a liar?
Harry.
Why, you lousy little quack. Call me a liar. You stink a little Hindu witch doctor with your fancy pants tongue.
Harry!
Come in here sticking me full of your cheap, no good medicine.
Harry, don't!
Pour that freezing cold up all over
Harry,
me.
take it easy. Harry's your friend.
My friend? That little hunk of foreign trash, my friend. Why, where I come from, where you guys live, khaki like him for bus boys.
You make a mistake. You are wrong.
Yeah, for bus boys, for waiters, for nothing. You're a foreigner. You're a gook. You're a nothing. Boy, I ought to beat you to a bloody pulp. You and your chloroform. You and your stuff about friendship and Mama Snake. And I must make out like I like you. I ought to split your head wide open, you gook! You gook! You gook! You gook!
Please, Doctor, forgive him. He's been under a great strain. He doesn't mean it.
A great strain, yes. He needs a good holiday. Good night, Mr. Woods.
That's all. I couldn't tell this if old Harry was still alive. Poor old Harry. He didn't die in India. He died in Chicago, in the Loop. Got run over by a taxi cab. The driver was third-generation Irish, a real 100% white American. Maybe that means something, I don't know. Poor old Harry.
Believe it or not, but the very life of your car depends on oil. Without oil, your motor would grind itself to pieces in a matter of minutes. That's why you need an oil that stands up under every driving condition. That's why you need Rich Lube all-weather motor oil. Rich Lube is refined 100% from the finest Pennsylvania crude oil ever discovered. That's your guarantee that Rich Lube won't burn up even under the terrific heat of hard summer driving. Its tough, long-lasting oil film is your faithful watchdog. It protects your motor every mile you drive. You can depend on it. Moreover, Rich Lube motor oil combats carbon and other harmful deposits by its special cleansing action. It cleans as it lubricates your motor. Keep your motor young. Keep your motor clean. See your Richfield gasoline dealer tomorrow. Ask him to change your oil to Rich Lube all-weather motor oil. Escape is produced and directed by William M. Robeson, and tonight is presented Poison by Roald Dahl and adapted for radio by James Poe. Featured in tonight's cast were Jack Webb as Woody, Bill Conrad as Harry, Jane Novello as Gandabai, and Charlie Long as the houseboy. Special music arranged and played by Ivan Ditmars. Next week.
You are lost in the headhunter territory of New Guinea, fighting your way through the swamps in search of gold. With you is a giant brute of a man and his beautiful wife, who doesn't care which of you is killed or who kills him, and from whose evil treachery there is no escape.
Next week at this time, the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York invites you to escape with an exciting story of evil and violence in the deadly swamps of New Guinea, as Jules Archer tells it in Two Came Back. Goodbye then until the same time next week when once again we offer you Escape. Tom Hanlon speaking over CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Wheat checks, rice checks, and good hot roastin' presents Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed adventure, Buzz and Happy have entered a damaged spaceship far out beyond the Pluto orbit to rescue two unconscious men. All around the ship, huge chunks of metal hurtle through space on an unknown orbit.
You'll have to carry them, Happy. You take this one, I'll handle the big fellow. Yes, Commander, the ship's a swirling right into the stream of metal fragments. Now, they aren't all going in one direction. They're just swirling motion like a whirl. Commander, the batteries in the ship, they're breaking us up. Gotta get them into our ship quickly. One of those fragments goes to the ship, we're through.
We'll be back in just a moment with today's Space Patrol story, The Strange Gift of the New Star. Captain Dick Tufeld speaking, gang. Speaking to you from an atomic power plant on Mars. Now, they're having trouble getting power, but I think I've found the trouble. Listen to this main-powered generator. Sounds pretty weak, doesn't it? My guess is this. They've been using ordinary fuel. Let's see what happens when I put in some of this super fuel. Listen to that power now. Supercharging, does it? And, gang, when you roll out of bed in the morning, you're just like this generator. You need fuel because you haven't had any for about 12 hours. But listen, don't settle for ordinary fuel. Get supercharged like Buzz Corey does with a power breakfast. Eat the super cereals in the checkerboard packages. Rice Chex and Wheat Chex are the super cereals with that modern bite-sized design for easy eating. Delicious and how? Rice Chex is bite-sized shredded rice, and it's triple toasted. Wheat Chex is bite-sized shredded wheat, and it's baked crisper than a cracker. So treat yourself to the same swell-tasting breakfast Buzz Corey enjoys every morning. A power breakfast with Rice Chex or Wheat Chex, the super cereals that help to supercharge you. And now, today's Space Patrol adventure. Few spaceships venture out beyond the orbit of Pluto, the most remote planet in the solar system. As one veteran space pilot put it, only a comet has the time and the fuel to go poking around out there in outer space. But in recent weeks, commercial spaceships on the Neptune to Pluto run have reported a peculiar unidentified object far beyond the Pluto orbit, slowly approaching the space lanes. Commander Corey and Cadet Happy had just finished a routine mission to Pluto and had decided to do a little investigating. Now, far beyond the space lanes, they scan the dark void with super-sensitive telescopes.
Is it a meteor, Commander?
Odd shape for a meteor that size. Too regular. Take a look.
I see it. It's shaped like a spaceship, but its surface is rough.
It is a spaceship, Happy.
But, sir, there's no sign of a rocket burst. No lights in the viewport.
It's in free fall. By the looks of it, it's been in free fall for some time.
Sir, if it's coming toward the solar system, well, where could it be from?
We can tell more about that after we board it. Get our spacesuits, a thermal lights, and a thermal cutting torch. We have to force our way into the airlock. I'll maneuver into position while you're getting the equipment. Stand by to cut rockets.
Standing by, sir.
Cut rockets and apply magnetic holding field and secure airlock.
Airlock contact secured, sir.
All right, let's go. Get in your spacesuit. I'll take the cutting torch. You handle your thermo lights and the radiation detector.
Flash your light over here, Happy. See if we can find the registry number. Doors open, sir. Nobody in the control compartment. No lights. Maybe this is a lost robot control job. I see the number now. It's U87. U87. Let's see, that would be... That's an old registry number, Happy. The ship must have been out of commission for 5 years. That I can believe. It's not a robot job, no. Better take a look around. Search the aft section. Yes, sir. Hey, look there on the floor. Empty ration containers. Turn your light on the air indicator. Should be up there in the bulkhead. Hold it, that's it. Did you read it, sir? There's some air in the ship, but the carbon dioxide factor is above the danger level. Commander, look back there, down the corridor. There's a man on the deck. Hold the light on him, Happy. I'll turn him over. Is he alive? Yes. We'll have to work fast. Getting back to our ship and try to bring him around.
Commander?
How's our passenger, Happy?
He opened his eyes for a minute and then passed out again. I've still got him on pure oxygen. His pulse rate's increasing and his respiration and temperature are approaching normal.
Good.
He's not as old as I thought at first. That heavy beard fooled me.
I've spacephoned to Terra headquarters for a check on the ship registration. Did you find any identification on the man?
None, sir. But from the looks of his ship, he must have been aboard for months.
You'll have it thoroughly examined when we tow it to Terra. I don't like that high radiation count. It could give him trouble.
I wonder how long he's been exposed to it.
It may not have been as bad inside the ship, but the rate from the hull is terrific.
He must have had some experience. Why, he may have circled through a part of space where no one has ever been before.
Base Control Terra calling Commander Corey aboard Terra 5, Sector 7, go to orbit. Base Control Terra calling Commander Corey.
Corey here, go ahead.
I have some information for you now on spaceship U87.
Happy, go back and keep an eye on our patient. Yes, let's have it, Space Control.
U87 is a Saturn registry ship owned by Joe O'Malley.
Joe O'Malley?
Yes, Commander. We've run a check on O'Malley. He escaped from Space Patrol officers just over a year ago after his arrest on Saturn.
Why was he arrested?
On suspicion of foul play against his partner, a man named Wes Pence. Everything indicated that O'Malley had disposed of Pence's body.
And O'Malley escaped rather than face trial.
Yes, sir.
Well, he's awfully close to cheating justice right now. Notify the Terra Hospital to meet our ship.
Yes, Commander.
And have a crew of technicians ready to examine O'Malley's ship. We're bringing it into Terra. It's hot.
Radiation?
Right. Hurry out.
Commander, he's conscious now, he's talking, but, well, he's still pretty weak.
I'll go back and have a look.
He wouldn't tell me where he's been. I asked him, and he acted like he wanted to slug me.
Did you get his name?
Yes, sir.
Was it Joe O'Malley?
No, sir. He says his name was Wes Pence.
Wes Pence. Had he fit on full acceleration for Terra? We've got a double mystery on our hands.
Came from Major Robertson's office, sir. He gave me a preliminary report on O'Malley's ship.
Fine. Wait here while I check it. I may want you to go over to the hospital and talk to our space hermit.
Well, who is it, Commander? Pence or O'Malley?
He may or may not be Pence, but he certainly was not O'Malley. O'Malley was much larger than this fellow. Heavier set and larger bone structure.
Now I guess we know how O'Malley tried to get rid of Pence. Stuck him in a spaceship and sent him zooming out of the solar system.
But the ship didn't have robot controls.
And that was more than a year ago. Pence couldn't have survived that long.
Happy, did you see this report of Major Robertson?
No, sir.
From all indications, the ship must have been spaceborne for 6 or 8 months.
Oh, 6 months alone in a spaceship. Happy, go over to the hospital and keep an eye on him. I'll join you as soon as I talk to him. Want some water, Mr. Pence?
Doctor, you're not the doctor.
No, I'm Cadet Happy.
I've seen you before. No, I haven't. I don't know where.
In the spaceship. Commander Corey and I found your ship out beyond Pluto.
Yeah, as I told you, you saved my life.
You just take it easy, Mr. Pence. Lie back and rest.
I never felt so weak. My ship. Where's my ship?
Don't worry. It's here on Terra at the spaceport.
Oh, you brought it in?
That's right.
Fine. Where's the doctor?
Well, he'll be dropping in shortly. I'll ring for the nurse if you want her.
Oh, don't bother. I'm so weak. Oh, could you get me some water, Cadet?
Sure.
And raise the head of my bed a little less.
Well, Happy, how's our patient?
Happy, what happened?
Oh, my head.
Happy, where's Pence?
I don't know. Last I remember, I was leaning over the bed fixing his pillow, and he hit me with something.
His handle from the bed.
But he seemed so weak.
He tricked you, Happy. He's escaped.
But why? Why, Commander? He's not a criminal.
We're not sure he isn't. Robbie's men found 1 million credits worth of stolen uranium hidden aboard his ship. We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment. Hey, gang, you want to hear something funny? Listen to this.
That's all. That's Nick, though. So, cover off, buddy. That's all. That's Nick, though. So, cover off, buddy.
That's a word scrambler, gang. A machine that scrambles secret messages sent by space patrollers over the spaceophone. You want to know what that message said? Here, I'll have the machine unscramble it for you. Listen. To get supercharged, eat a power breakfast with instant Ralston. To get supercharged, eat a power breakfast with instant Ralston. Boys and girls, that's one of the most important messages a space patroller ever sent. Yes, sir, when you sit down to a power breakfast with good hot Ralston, well, boy, oh boy, that's your day to shine. For instant Ralston packs a wallop in every spoonful. It's rich whole wheat. Remember, rich whole wheat. And that means it'll warm up your motor, tune up your thinking machine, help start off your day with a bang. That's the kind of start Buzz Corey gets. That's the kind of start he wants you to have. So come on, Space Patrollers, get supercharged. Eat a power breakfast with good hot Ralston. And now, back to our Space Patrol adventure, The Strange Gift of the New Star. Far beyond the orbit of Pluto, Buzz and Happy found an apparently deserted and powerless spaceship. Aboard, they found a man who identified himself as Wes Pence. This created another mystery. For more than a year ago, Wes Pence had been listed as a victim of a fatal assault by his partner, Joe O'Malley. O'Malley, in turn, has been missing since his escape from Space Patrol officers months ago. Buzz brought Pence to Terra and placed him in a hospital for treatment. But when Buzz entered the hospital room, he found Happy unconscious and the supposedly weakened patient vanished without a trace. Now, on a side street in Kepler City on the planet Mars, a thin, stoop-shouldered man climbs a stairway at the side of a shabby machine shop. He knocks at the door.
Better open up. It's business.
I don't discuss business this time of day.
Don't you recognize me, O'Malley?
There's no O'Malley here. My name is Ramo Corbett. You have the wrong address.
Yeah, you can fool a lot of people with that ain't no four-back front, but not your old partner.
My partner? I have no partner.
You did have. Don't you recognize me? Oh, I admit I've been through a lot since the day you and I had that fight on Saturn.
What? No, it can't be. This is some joke.
Better let me in. We got a lot to talk about.
Sure. Of course, come in.
I'll have to sit down. I'm pretty weak. Well,
This isn't much of a place after what we used to have in the old days.
I've had to lie low on account of the space patrol. They think I did away with it.
Yeah, and so did you. Until a moment ago. You thought I was finished. But I managed to crawl away and get help. You know, for nearly a year I thought of nothing but revenge. All those months on Venus, later out in space.
Out in space?
Yeah. Beyond Pluto, far beyond. The sun is just a tiny star. It's good to have a strong hate out there. It keeps you warm and keeps you from going mad.
What were you doing out there?
Chasing a romance. In your old ship, the U-87. The one you abandoned in the Venus swamps.
You got that old tub spaceborne?
Yeah. I lived like a miser to get it in shape. I starved myself. Then one day I blasted off. In your ship. Yeah. That's what we had the big fight about, remember? I wanted you to outfit a ship and you refused.
But you wouldn't tell me what you wanted it for.
No. But I tell you now, I need help.
I thought you hated me.
O'Malley, let's face it. One of us isn't worth a handful of space dust without the other.
What's the pitch? What's out there, West?
Uranium. Pure uranium. Tons of it.
You're crazy.
I've seen it. You don't have to mine it. You just lower a cargo scoop and pull it aboard. It's a cloud of uranium. Uranium particles all sizes. From dust out to chunks as big as a spaceship.
Now I know you're crazy.
Yeah? Well, I brought some back with me. In your old ship.
Huh?
Before I broke out of the hospital. I came looking for you. The Space Patrol is going to figure out I stole the uranium. But before they find me, I want to be back here with a whole freighter load of it.
The whole freighter load? I tell you, you're crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what they say. But I'm going to prove I didn't steal it. And we'll be rich for life.
How do I know this isn't some trick of yours? Revenge.
All right, O'Malley. I'll find somebody else. By the looks of you, you couldn't promote the spaceship anyway.
Now, wait. Just a minute. I've got connections over in Lowell City. There wouldn't be too many questions.
Now you're talking.
I can get a spaceship, all right. And I'm going to do it. So you better be on the lookout. We got a line on Pence, Happy. He's gone to Mars.
To Mars?
Yes, in a regular passenger ship.
How did he get the money?
From a safe deposit vault in the Terra Bank. Pence put it there 2 years ago. The banker got suspicious and reported that he identified Pence from a description.
Oh, and then you checked with the spaceport?
Right. He got on a transport ship to Kepler City. He's going to blast off right away and lead the search for him.
As soon as he realized his ship was here on Terra, he knew we'd found the stolen uranium.
That's another mystery about Pence and his ship. That uranium wasn't stolen. A careful check has been made at every plant handling uranium. None missing.
But if he didn't steal it, well, why did he run away from the hospital?
The more important question is if he didn't steal it, where did he get it?
See, that's right. Pence couldn't have owned that much ore by himself.
Suppose that uranium wasn't processed. Suppose it's natural, pure uranium.
But, sir, it doesn't exist that way anywhere in the solar system. At least not in huge chunks like that.
No, not in the solar system. But where did we find Pence?
The rockets. He had been outside the solar system.
I have an idea Pence is going back. Where he came from.
For more uranium?
Mm-hmm. But unless he gets medical treatment soon, it won't do him much good.
Huh?
Pence is in a very bad way from his last prospecting trip. Come on, Happy, let's get to him.
Commander, I've just decoded the message from Security Lab. Here it is.
Very interesting. Rather startling, isn't it, Happy?
Well, sir, I just deciphered it letter by letter. I didn't take the time to read it over. Something about uranium and helium. That's all I got out of it.
It's a further analysis of the uranium on Pence's ship. A notation by Dr. Bryson.
What does he say?
According to him, pure uranium could be found in space. Matter hurled off by forces in a newly formed star, he says, might consist almost entirely of uranium.
Well, isn't that the way the solar system was supposed to have been formed?
Yes, but our system is billions of years old. The original uranium has decayed into lead and the other elements, including the lighter gases like helium.
Well, then this stuff that West Pence found could be a hunk of a new star.
Well, new as far as the life of uranium is measured. Could be millions of years old.
Doesn't sound very new to me.
No, but in that time, it could cross interstellar space and come close to our solar system.
Station Patrol calling Commander Corey aboard Terra 5. Space Patrol calling Commander Corey.
Corey here. Go ahead, Space Control.
Report on suspect Wes Pence.
Let's have it.
Man believed to be Pence blasted off a special cargo freighter from Lowell City, Mars Spaceport 2 hours ago. Destination unannounced.
Why wasn't he stopped?
He wasn't recognized by guards until the full description reached us after blastoff. Pence was with another man.
Was the other man recognized?
The 2 guards who noticed Pence have checked old files, Commander. They've only rated their own identification as number 3 reliability.
Well, they aren't too sure. Well, what's their opinion?
They think the other man resembles Joe O'Malley.
Pence's old partner.
Yes, sir. The 2 men arrived from Kemper City.
Space Control, can you give me any information on the vector taken by that ship?
A routine view scope trace shows it headed generally toward Neptune. Its registry is MSC312.
Thanks, Space Control. Corey out. Happy, check the astrogation chart. In a blast off from Lowell City, Mars, what other planets would lie close to the Neptune trajectory?
Well, none very close.
Run a test trajectory from Mars to Neptune, then out beyond the Pluto orbit. What have you got?
Well, if I go out far enough, it puts us roughly in the sector where we found Wes Pence.
We'll keep on that vector unless we hear that their ship has been sighted in some other part of the system.
You think they're going out for more uranium?
If they are, they're in for a good long trip. Get some rest, Happy. I'll call you in 3 hours.
Well, how much further is it?
Just hold this vector. My best calculation, the uranium cluster is moving at about the same velocity as Pluto, which means we'll intercept
it. Happy, I think I picked them up on the viewscope.
That's about time. I begun to think they'd veered off on another vector.
Not only that, but I found something else in the viewscope. It registers as a blurred object, a collection of small fragments.
You mean this thing up here in the corner of the screen?
Right. Hence the ship seems to be heading right for it.
Wes, what's that in the viewscope?
I told you a while ago it's the uranium. We're nearly there.
No, I mean the rear viewscope. The spaceship.
Huh? Hey, you're right. And if they're out this far, they're after us.
What do we do?
We'll lose them in the swarm.
Huh?
We'll get the uranium between us and them. When they get closer, those pallets will cloud out their viewscopes so bad they'll never find us. Here, let me take the control.
Put on more acceleration, Hap. Keep them in sight.
Crazy fools. What are they up to? They're flying right into that cluster.
And it's uranium, all right. Our radiation instruments are going crazy.
It must be trying to pick up some chunks at this speed. They'll crack up sure.
Probably trying to ditch us. Don't get any closer till we determine their next move.
It's working. We got them buffaloes.
Space Patrol, all right.
Yeah, here are fine. That means Commander Buzz Corey. We'll evade them, scoop out some uranium, and head back for Mars.
Wes, look out. We're right in the middle of the swarm.
Calm down. We're keeping pace with them.
Wes, do something.
Got us, midship. Look the compartment before we lose our air.
Help me. I'm hit.
I can't. Right into my shoulder.
Their ship's wrecked. They got a big chunk right ahead of their power unit. Get our spacesuits, Hap. We're going in and get them.
Hap, the cluster isn't all going in the same direction. It's in a swirling motion like a whirlpool. It's battering the ship to pieces. Hurry, Hap. Keep moving. If one of those hunks of uranium wrecks our ship, none of us will ever get back alive. Look, Commander. The nose port is cracked. There's the big break. Hurry, we gotta get Pence and Buddy into our ship before this one's riddled. Yes, sir. Into the airlock. Now into our ship. Now we'll drop them in right here when we get the ship away from this hot spot. Yes, sir. I'll close the inner hatch. Take off your helmet.
All right, release magnetic holding field. Field out, sir. Now to fire rockets and get away from this uranium bombardment.
of the stream.
Yes, but look at the other ship. A hole the size of a space car all the way through the control compartment. We got out of there just in time. We're heading for Terram. You take care of our passengers.
Oh, Pence is coming around. O'Malley. He's safe, Pence. Just lie still, and I'll bandage that shoulder.
So that's O'Malley.
Yeah, it is. You know, Commander, this makes twice you two have saved my life.
That may be. If you don't mind telling me, why did you run away from the hospital and come out here on this wild expedition?
Well, O'Malley and I wanted to get a share of that uranium so we could prove I didn't steal the chunk you found in the other ship.
And to make yourselves a fortune, huh?
Well, I guess that did enter into it.
You took all that risk for nothing, Pence. We've known for some time you didn't steal that uranium.
Then O'Malley and I are free.
O'Malley is, but you aren't. You can't go around slugging Space Patrol personnel and get away with it. You remembered the incident with Cadet Happy in the hospital.
Yeah, that's right.
You'll have to take whatever punishment or fine is coming to you.
I'm sunk. I can't pay any fine. I'm broke.
He's a comedian.
It's the truth. It took all the money I had to leave the spaceship.
You talk strangely, Pence, for a man with 1 million credits worth of uranium.
Huh?
That uranium you brought in your ship, it's yours by right of discovery. And now, an exciting preview of next week's thrilling Space Patrol adventure. Buzz and Happy are in a relay communication station in space. Jim Comar, who is in league with a strange alien power, is using some mysterious crystals, forcing Buzz and Happy to obey him against their will.
The crystals are getting brighter. That's all I can see or even think about. The crystals. Keep walking. Up to the generator. Closer. Closer.
Happy, fight it.
Touch the connection. Reach out your hand.
Don't touch it, Hap.
I can't hold back.
If you touch it, you'll be finished. Be sure to be with us next Saturday for the exciting story, The Seed Crystals of Zaldibran. High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol. Space Patrol, an original Mike Moser production starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston and directed by Larry Robertson. Other players were Bela Kovach and Ken Mayer. Dick Tufeld speaking. Now, don't forget to tune in next Saturday and every Saturday when Wheat Chex, Rice Chex, and Good Hot Ralston again present the new exciting Space Patrol. And be sure to see another exciting Space Patrol story on your local ABC television station. Consult your local newspaper for time and channel. And now, a special word to mothers about a clever new idea. A salad that looks like a queen's crown, studded with jewels.
It's peach coronation salad, one of the easiest and thriftiest salads you've ever made. All you need is creamy cottage cheese, bits of maraschino cherries, and canned cream peaches from California.
To make peach coronation salad taste its luscious best, serve with rye crisp, those crisp, toasty wafers with a wonderful, hearty rye flavor.
For pictures of peach coronation salad, watch newspapers and magazines during the entire month of March. Your grocery is also featuring this colorful salad. Look for coronation salad displays at his store today.
Be sure to serve with rye crisp, the perfect food to make other foods taste even better.
For your figure's sake, make your bread rye crisp all the time. Only 21 calories in a double square. The famous rye crisp reducing pan is printed right on the package. Remember, it's smart to make your bread rye crisp.
Space Patrol comes to you transcribed from Hollywood. This is ABC Radio Network.